I really like the combat, and I was like, I'm just gonna kill everything I see around me, and I just happen to have 10 button already. I was like, all right, cool.
That's
Gonna
actually
watch the
pretty
sheep.
funny. I'm hoping to sell. I don't know what to do with this stuff, and I kind of want to sell it, but then I look at it and I'm like, well, there's no reason why this broken pottery is worth 1,600 unless it's worth some kind of like crafting thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although if I have like a 10 of anything, I'll go ahead and sell it, I guess.
Probably. I would keep your any health stuff. I would actually keep that though. It does get a little difficult later on. Or what difficulty are you playing on?
Hard.
Hard. Okay, yeah.
I think it changed the link too. That sucks.
Dad, not a fan.
Not funny. Didn't
Laugh.
PP.
Post, edit, etc., etc. Post, publish. Alright. I put the new link in the Discord. If you guys want to pull it up, make sure that it's working. We should be live right now. It looks like it's all live and stuff.
Perfect.
Edit. Change link. Save. Booyah shaka, booyah shaka.
Booyah shaka, booyah shaka.
I'm back. Yeah, I don't...
Yeah.
You streaming to YouTube is not as intuitive as Twitch, but it allows
Maybe
for
there's
this
a reason
sort of
it hasn't taken
unlisted private stream type thing. That is alright, though. We're back officially. I kind of want to turn the music back on to make it really quiet.
Xavier and Travis get top
We're
billing.
here to stay forever.
Wild.
Who, what?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You are literally in the same frame. What are you talking about?
Look at the fucking the video. Look at the YouTube.
Yeah, I know, but you two are in the same frame.
It's a joke. You and Travis's is wider just because of like the layout.
We're wider because we're the best members of the team.
That's why I said you get top billing.
It's true. It's obvious.
Oh, then let me... Hold on. I'll fix it then.
Yeah. If you, Logan subscribers, want to drop a ranking of
Welcome back to
best,
Watch
players.
Mojos.
I don't get paid.
Oh, man. Thanks, Richard, for hanging out with us. Let's see if...
Yeah, good to have you here, Richard.
Who else? Me and Richard. I don't think that's accurate. Yeah, it says we have 4 people, but clearly it's not.
It's me, Richard, and you. Thank you very much.
I have it up on my phone.
Okay, there you are. But yeah. So this is for my Patreon peeps for the most part. Alan's here now. Thanks, Alan, for joining us. Doesn't show up for the actual campaign, but will show up for this. I'm just giving you. I'm just busting your balls, Alan. I listened to your stream like a night or two ago, and you straight up did sound like sick. I was like, oh, he's so stuffed up. You're just like,
Down.
I was
Sick.
knocked,
Down
yeah,
like.
I believe it.
for this whole week.
Yeah, we're
better
celebrating.
now, though.
Oh, you're better now, though. Good. Was it vaccine stuff or just?
It was just I got a cold. I think, like, I don't know.
Hope
I
it
think
is
it
not
was- I was-
vaccine. I just got my second dose, and I'm just like, please. I'm just like, please, don't die.
Well, as long as you don't have plans like tomorrow, you should be okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well.
So yes, this is to celebrate getting reaching 10 patrons on my Patreon. Thank you to all my friends who have supported and making my journey to being a creator work. Sorry, I had a phone call. I survived the Rona. I can't roll my tongue. Rona.
Rona.
There it is. So yes, this is just a nice, relaxed, chill hangout thing. Depending on how much fun we have with this, we'll probably get back to doing some more After Dark stuff. But we'll have to start changing it because in the next few months we'll be starting a new campaign. We'll probably be retiring Shar Knights for who knows how long. We bring back for some one shots, and then do a new D&D campaign. We'll keep it a little close. What's up, Jess?
Hey.
That's better.
See myself, so
But yeah, and so this is just gonna be us sitting, chatting, shooting the stuff, shooting the poop. So, I know we're gonna end up talking about a lot of random bullshit, so let's at least, maybe we can start talking about, I know we're not on Twitch, so there's no emotes, which sucks, but gotta do what you gotta do. I think we can do some RP warm-ups to go ahead and get in the vibe and the zone of talking about D&D. How's that sound, everybody?
Sure.
I guess.
Yeah.
You guys?
I mean, me and Travis could keep talking about Nier if you want. We could
It's
do a whole podcast.
that's my warming up.
Please talk more about the mutton lady.
Okay, yeah,
That's-
the mutton
that's
lady,
what we're all here
she's
for.
pretty cool. She needs 10 mutton to be able to feed her kids. And she'll pay you some good money. So,
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you don't know how many kids she have, but 10 mutton,
Yeah.
that's a lot of mutton.
that's a lot of money.
That's
I mean,
a
that's
lot of money.
Maybe
That's a
maybe
couple
she's
sheep.
an Aldi shopper. Maybe she's just shopping in bulk.
I mean, she might be.
Might
She
be.
says she pays you more than the shop, so I'm kind of confused as to why she's like cutting out the middleman for this mutton, right? And there's one, the shopkeep keeps on saying that the town really loves this mutton,
Mhm.
so I don't know.
She
I
also says that her kids are like,
Oh,
the way that she treats her kids, it's almost as if they're harassing her for the mutton, as if they're like
Yeah.
begging. They're like, mutton, mutton, mutton. And
Yeah,
then
my
her-
15 horrible children
Yo,
all
actually,
jumping at the bit.
I need to send you this picture because it's freaking hilarious. There's a picture of
Logan's face right now is just like, yeah, I just want to do an RP warm up, but I guess you got to 2 hours.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something?
No, it's fine.
Okay. There's a picture I'm posting in general right now, of this kid, of this lady who just like shit talks her kid, immediately. You like say hi to her and she's like, you know, your sister is so much better than my kids. I'm like, dang.
I'm like, I don't even know you, lady, but all right.
Anyway, Logan, RP warm up.
Yes,
Aren't you
Travis's video is so wide.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry. I can do this thing.
That's because
that better?
Travis and Xavier get top billing.
They get
that's
top
why their
billing.
kids are one.
Get top billing.
Carson and I get that thing at the end of the show where it says with so and so.
Special guest.
Yeah, we're the young
starring.
ingenues who got thrown a bone.
Yeah. They're just getting paid in
Exposure.
exposure. Yeah.
You're getting paid in
Experience.
consumption.
This is an unpaid internship for all of us except for Logan. So.
Hey Jacob, if Donovan had a warning label, what would it be?
My first response was may contain nuts, but I'm like, that's not real.
It's not real?
He would have gotten it like a bachelor party.
Objects are sadder than they appear.
Well, on that note.
That was my serious answer.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Objects are sadder than they appear. That's good. Too relatable.
Why is he so sad?
Why is he so? I don't
What would
understand.
you like to know, metal boy?
He has a perfectly fine life.
Don't
with
be
his daughter.
racist.
Yeah, I don't think you could say that.
Fuck, dude.
Out of nowhere. Damn.
Oh, gosh.
Who knew
Showing the
Jacob?
True colors.
I mean, I guess it's Donovan that's the right. I don't know. Would you like to know, metal boy? This one is for Alan.
Hey. What up?
What Ew, I don't like this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. What is the one thing that Killian prefers to do alone? Pub is a sad boy.
If you know, you know.
What does he prefer to do alone?
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to something with other people?
Yeah. That's kind of what that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
like, you know, he prefers to go get coffee alone than with someone else, or he prefers to go on walks alone, or he prefers to fight in combat alone. He prefers to
I thought it was
go
like,
grocery
yeah,
shopping.
He plays chess with himself or something.
He only likes. Never mind. Yeah, Rachel. Yep, you get it.
He likes to play chess alone because he sucks at it.
Yeah, that's it. Right is that what they're calling it nowadays, Richard? Right poetry? Wink, wink.
He doesn't. This isn't something he often shares or like lets people know about, but he loves puzzles. Like, you know those things that you'll get at like the bookstore or something, and like the, you know, away from the books section, and there's like a bunch of those, like, you know, like two keys are stuck together, try and like pull them apart or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like, he likes stealing like those puzzles and stuff, and like it's been scouring like a lot of like hobby shops and like toy stores across town looking for intricate puzzles.
I love it. Why isn't it doing the thing? What is happening?
People thirst for the one slur.
They do.
They what? They do what now?
Don't worry about it.
I told Jacob he looked like the one slur.
Which I don't. And I said thank you. And I said thank you because people thirst for the one slur. There's a whole subreddit about it.
Okay. Okay.
If you know, you know.
Okay. I don't know. And
Probably content your generous donation paid for, Patreon.
Yes, and I'm deeply sorry for that. Xavier. Ew, what does Spike see when he looks in the mirror?
You ever seen Terminator?
The famous Shar musical, The Terminator.
I think. On a good day, Spike would see the one and only, the bounty hunter, the Iron Warrior, the Playboy billionaire Fernandez. On a bad day, he sees 5P1K3, the killing machine that he was designed to be. And then on an okay day, he's just, just a regular guy like the rest of us. Just trying to make it by. Puts on his shoes 1 foot at a time.
He wears shoes? He does wear the cowboy boots. Yeah.
He wears the boots.
Does he wear them all the
one
time?
boots.
Even during like his downtime? Does he kick them off at the end of the day, or does he leave them
Boots
on?
Stay on during that. Just kidding.
Like, with just boots, full duster, pistol holstered, sitting in his chair, reading The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for the 400th time.
Mm-hmm.
The boots
Oh
are
my
actually soldered on.
Yeah.
Those are just his feet now.
Yeah, when you especially order your boots, you're like, can you put magnets in them? They're like, why? It's like, because I don't want them to come off, ever. They're a part of me now. I need to test something super fast, so hold your thoughts for.
Everybody
Okay,
ready for the stream
we're good.
to
Okay.
be deleted once again?
Nope, we're
Yeah.
fine. We're good.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
I'll make sure.
Just making sure. Just double check. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, awesome. And Travis, shout out to the 2 crew. I feel like I always roll the best ones for the appropriate characters. So for Oleg, what's the one thing that always makes him smile?
Well, like, he really enjoys his cat. Anytime he's able to be around his new cats, he's incredibly happy. So yeah, that's he's an animal lover. He doesn't like people, but animals he loves.
Aw.
Alright.
Did he have pets growing up? Or was it like a thing where his parents didn't allow him to have pets?
No, it wasn't part of the whole thing, right? That's why he was so obsessed with Delkir, because he could at least have something interesting, you know.
Third person of the character's accent, yeah, right? I like Rachel's question. What did you name your cat? I don't remember.
What did I name my cat? That is a good question. Give me a second, and I will let you know.
Tentacle McTentacle face.
No, I remember it being. I remember somebody having to remind me what it was. I will let you know whenever I find it,
Hello?
but I cannot remember it.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, Kisa.
Oh,
Kisa.
Kisa.
Keith.
Very nice.
Jello? Gello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Rad. Now I need to ask, Varian, a question. 13. So that means you're gonna get the next one. What is something that Varian does every morning?
Vocal warm-ups.
No, Varian, not Carson.
Yeah, I think every morning,
Richard!
games his forearms.
His best. Varian's gotta be aerodynamic.
Yeah, fully smooth on there. I think
Just there?
You use
that was
alter
not the
self.
question, Jacob.
You use alter self every morning to get rid of your body hair. Every day.
Yeah,
I cast Dispel Hair at 5th level.
every morning, Varian wakes up, makes himself yeah, some sort of espresso drink that is very extra with a lot of added flavors and like milk or milk-like products and sugars and whatnot, and then goes back up to his room and just goes over every spell he has ever learned.
Just
once
just in
every
case.
morning, everything from like detect magic up through like now that he has 5th level spells like scrying. Every morning is just as ingraining it so firmly in his mind and that he can be prepared to cast what he needs at the moment where he needs it.
Good thing he's a
Does he-
young adult, because, like, if he were older, like, his blood, even probably now, his blood sugar's probably just nightmarish.
I mean, I'd like to think his, like, kind of powerful elven heritage lends him some degree of, like, supernatural health. Yeah, he
High
definitely
metabolism.
Yeah, he definitely tests it with all of the caffeine and the fucking fireball energy drinks.
He grows a single white hair a day.
Yeah,
That he...
yeah. Varian
That's
will
wild.
be like entirely white hair by the time he's like 44.
that tracks. I like that question, the affirmation question. So what we'll do is we'll start off with our top build players here, and work our way down to the bottom of the ticket.
Thank God I go last.
So Xavier, it kind of lends itself back to the question earlier, but when Spike's looking at himself in the mirror, he's getting ready for the day, and has a particular hard day ahead of him. What is an affirmation he tells himself to get, like, pumped up? Like, to be like, yes, I can do it today. I got this. Or does he do it at all?
I'm trying to think if he would even do it at all. I mean, I feel like Spock's pretty confident in himself. He knows what he's about. I think his affirmation is just reading that book again. He wakes up every day, he's gonna read it, and he's just like, yeah, I'm a cowboy. That's me. I'm a cowboy. I'm a cowboy. He's like, he's standing.
I'm a cowboy. I'm a cowboy. Trying the voice.
Yeah, and he's just getting it. He's just perfecting it just every time.
And most
And then
of
he's
all,
like, all right, yeah.
be kind.
I like this idea too that like the various like inflections in your voice are controlled by like dials. So like the first time you tried your voice, you had the dial up too high, and it was like, "Well, hi there, my name is." Nope, that's way too high, and then like turns it down like, "Hello, my name is Spike."
Nope.
And so I can't wait for one day to like, you suffer a bunch of damage, and then you go to speak, and you're like, "All right, guys, well, Eldritch Blast."
I ruined my voice box. Oh god.
Oleg, what do you tell yourself to get yourself in a good mood, and what do you tell yourself on bad days to?
Maybe I'll be able to shoot somebody today. No, I don't think Oleg actually. I think realistically, whenever Oleg's just having a bad day, he doesn't really say anything to himself. He just kind of grumbles, and just lets the day live. He lives in that moment. I don't know.
Lets the day live.
Yeah, I don't think he really. Whenever he gets disheartened or anything of that sort, I don't think he really thinks too hard about it. Maybe he tries to make sure that he spends some time with Spike or Varian to kind of enjoy the moment with them.
Oh, cute.
I'm waiting for the session where Spike and Oleg take Varian to the gun range. It's just like, it's gonna be a good time.
And he's starting to get to the point now where he's starting to like Donovan, even though he doesn't want to. He like truly doesn't like Donovan, and then Donovan says something.
I don't know the difference.
And so like kind of picking with Donovan's always fun for him because he's like half serious, half joking, and he's like, this is kind of nice.
Your affirmations make fun of Donovan. So this will be a fun one for Killian and Donovan. We'll start with Alan. So Killian has a family. He has children. So I imagine that part of his affirmations are things he tells his kids to say too. So like, what are Killian's positive affirmations? And
I guess a big thing that he would try and hammer down is like, there's a ton of people out there that they've got life way worse than us, like there's been folks that like haven't had the same chances that we've had to get to where we are today, and just kind of like,
Logan, why are you laughing?
look at the chat.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, that'd be a shame. Didn't there be two sexy people?
Anyway, Alan.
Just kind of like reminding them like how the stuff that they've got great in life, and just kind of like I don't know, I guess maybe, I don't know if this is the right word, like a responsibility maybe to like do the best they can,
Yeah.
and like look out for each other and stuff like that.
I like it. Donovan. same thing. Affirmations, things you tell you or your kids kid. You might have more than one kid. We'll find out, I guess. On
I don't think I do.
on you know, when things aren't going well, things you do to, you know, remember the good stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I
a
think
weird something happens.
you have an unexpected child.
It's possible.
I don't think it is. I think that for Donovan it would just kind of be like he has like a core set of rules that he tries to follow, and I think that on those hard days it would be like kind of just a reminder, like, don't be who you used to be, keep moving forward, protect what's important, and only say what you have to.
Say less.
Yeah, it'd be just kind of like, remember what's important to you and remember the rules you have for yourself, and don't do things just because you can.
Okay. And Varian, what are Varian's affirmations for whenever he's having a rough day and needs to pick himself back up?
Okay, so I think at the urging of Varian's, you know, very sweet and supportive mother, he's developed some affirmations to kind of deal with, you know, the high stress and anxiety of living his life, you know, being the heir to a powerful but not super old Dragonmark family in Shar, an up-and-coming family that is kind of relying on him to continue and cement their status. So I think his affirmation, or the foremost of them, is it's okay to not be okay. Dealing with anxiety and depression and whatnot is like something you live with, something you work through, but it does not define you, and it does not subtract from you. It is okay to feel those feelings, and it does not make you any less to feel them.
Rad. I dig that. That's a good one. There was a retailer that Rachel and I were shopping through last night, and they had a bunch of like t-shirts and hoodies and stuff that had similar sort of affirmations of like, I'm sad and it's okay, and just stuff like that. And I'm like, nice, rad.
It's okay to feel bad.
It's okay to feel bad. And I remember in counseling when I was in college, one of the things I'd mentioned, I because, you know, in college is hard, and I had said stuff like, I'm really stressed and I'm tired and I'm sad, but I have all this stuff to do. And it sounds like really like advice to hear it from like a third person, but like hearing it from the counselor after saying that stuff, they were just like, okay, so just say you're gonna do the things you need to do, but understand and accept that you're gonna do them and be tired and be sad or be stressed. And it's like, if they're things you have to do, like you have to, just say, yeah, I'll get this paper done, I'll just be stressed while doing it. And just kind of accept, like, it's gonna still happen, but I'm gonna do it. And it's like, yeah. Really good.
Yeah, precisely.
Oh, gosh. Good stuff.
Hell yeah.
Now I'll cherry pick something that's a little more, lighthearted. Oh, there we go. Xavier, Spike. Oh, no, never mind, I can't ask you that one. It was, what would you sell your soul for?
About tree fitty.
Tree fitty. What does Spike do on his day off? Like day off, not like day off from being a detective and he just goes and bounty hunts, but like what is a true day off for Spike?
Let's say A true day off.
Does he have like a floral Hawaiian pattern trench, like a duster that he wears on his days off?
What a cursed
A,
garment.
spring
Oh,
skin for Spike.
I'm gonna
Summer-
say no, so that cannot be canon.
A
I'm gonna
beach
fight
skin?
someone to make that not a thing. I think on Spike's actual day off, Spike isn't Spike. I think on Spike's actual day off, for him to actually feel like he's gonna be able to like get some rest and do something that he's not going to like, he's not like responsible for doing everything that he needs to do and everything. He takes off the duster. He takes off. He removes. He stops thinking about being, you know, his old war stuff, and he's just like, today I'm Jimmy, and I'm just gonna be Jimmy today, and I'm gonna be this weird guy that's really into trains or something. And he's just like, today my name is Robert the Third, and I am really into classical music. And he's just being someone else entirely. I think that's his day off, is to just not be him.
I love that. Oh man.
What was his latest day off as?
I think his latest day off. He was like, you know what? My name is Billiam, and I am deeply, vastly in love with scones. And he just played as this guy who just absolutely loves scones. He went to he went to all the cafes in Lower Dura to find the best scones. And it's just Billiam, and they're just like, have I seen you before? And it's like, absolutely not. I am a brand new person.
Spike, is that you?
Nope. It was like, I know
Went to
your arm. And he's
Scone
like,
Con.
this thing, no.
Is Spike just the most dedicated improv comic in the world?
Yeah. Yes, he is.
I'm surprised he's not more into our two new
Here's the-
friends who are really into acting.
Here's the thing. Oleg told Spike to get a new book, and we haven't had time to do it, but when he gets a new book, it's gonna be someone new. The little hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge I've been working on, I've been thinking about, but in the future, whenever he picks up that new book, it's gotta be a different Spike.
What I would
Oh,
love
man.
is for if you keep Spike for the new campaign, but just play a Warforged Warlock, but just completely different personality, and it's just Spike got thrown into another world, so he was like, new personality.
Yeah, a new.
All my characters are Spike, just in disguise.
Wow.
I
I get
read
Tortles
all
and
of
you
your
get Spikes.
twists.
Cool.
Oh god.
Yeah, play Spike playing someone else.
Oh my gosh. He's a guy playing a guy playing a guy?
Yeah.
I'm a dude playing a dude playing another dude.
Yeah.
Oh man. Xavier, pick someone else. Pick someone who you want to know more about.
Pick someone else that I want to know more about. I want to know a little bit more about Killian. I want to know about specifically, I want to know about your war past.
Your war past.
Oh, okay.
Oh no. Then
I thought you said Warpath at first. I was like, whoa.
my war past. I feel like Iron Man. Exactly. It's like whenever you're watching, like you get super into a new TV show, and you find yourself like thinking or talking like a character in that show that you really like gravitated toward, and you use like a turn of phrase that they use too much. I imagine that's Spike.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, this is a really crazy case. Bazinga!
Is the worst timeline.
Oh my god. Oh Jesus, Letterkenny. That's fair.
Cursed.
So we'll say, I would just kind of open it up for Alan. What's something, maybe a an event or maybe you want to talk about like your role in the war or your job.
Yeah. Yeah, I can talk about Killian's. Yeah, what he did to start off with. And I wrote it down just in case I forgot, because I want to make sure.
You wrote it down?
Yeah.
I'm just memeing. I don't. I know we josh on Alan a lot, but every time I played with the campaign with Alan, he always has like a notebook that's just packed full of notes. They're not that organized, but it's just packed full of notes. You write shit down.
Yeah. I find it eventually. I say as I'm looking for the notes.
Well, usually, and this is kind of me too, especially if it's like a lore-intensive campaign. Like, I'll hear a proper noun that's familiar, and I'll be like, oh, wait, we've heard that before. And I flip through pages and pages of notes, and then I find it, and all I wrote down was that word.
Was that word?
Was just that word. I do that all the time, and I'm like, well, that's useless.
Oh yeah, his military. Yeah, okay. So Killian got drafted, because I imagine, a war lasting several years needs more people, and probably some people that wouldn't have otherwise enlisted.
Was he an army recruiter?
Huh?
He was an army recruiter?
No, he was drafted in as like, just a private.
I thought you had said like you realized that people weren't, like you needed more people, and I thought that was leading to you became an army recruiter, and I was like, no. You went on to all the local high schools.
If you want to make it up to Upper Dura, the only way through the military. You want to join a Dragon Mark family?
That's
Join
not,
the Marines.
that's not how that works. Anyway,
I know.
continue.
Do they know that?
Nope.
Probably not.
Continue, Alan.
But yeah, so usual drafting process. He was just kind of like sent into boot camp, and like, I think after a while, someone like finally noticed he had wings and was like, "Hey, he might be good for like scouting and stuff." And he was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I can do that."
They didn't notice during your physical exam.
And because he had that necklace of adaptation from his dad that like helps him breathe normally no matter what.
Mhm.
Like he was really good at like being able to survey places and like scout out areas, either like flying high above the clouds where there's not as much oxygen, or maybe like through like difficult terrain, like areas that might be with some poisonous thing in the air. And I think one thing led to another, and eventually because he also had like a bit of a background of like learning how to fight and stuff, and stealthy sneaky stuff like his dad, so they put him into a special aerial unit that kind of like is meant to go behind enemy lines and like take out like like the mages in the back of a battlefield, or like whatever is artillery in this world or something. And I think eventually, like, because that's a very dangerous thing to do, going behind enemy lines with no backup whatsoever, he got injured at some point, and as he was recovering, he could still like do things, so he was kind of like given an office job, sort of helping out with like intelligence and stuff like that, and that's kind of how eventually he got a job as Dark Lantern.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we talked about this on like an After Dark thing. That's something I've loved, is like Killian Spike had such different experiences in the last war, but it's still the war. It is still being a veteran, and then afterward gone completely opposite directions. And I love it. I love the dynamic. I want to explore it more.
Yeah, and I think like Killian got lucky because he was like halfway like he was kind of legacied into a government job because of his dad,
Yeah.
but also he was a veteran and he already worked in intelligence during the war. So once it ended, you know,
It made
they
sense.
just tried
Yeah.
to move him somewhere else. Yeah.
Now, Alan,
Hey.
ask the others, one of the other people, and I guess we could also throw in our one shot, the new hires characters, because for some reason, people really, I don't say for some reason, it's pretty obvious, people loved our new hires characters. Like, they were all loved deeply. Ask a question you want to know about someone else's character.
Uh-oh, I gotta think about it.
Uh-oh. I have a question for Oleg. You might be able to answer somewhat quickly. Similar to what was going to happen with Varian, kind of. If for some reason, Oleg rekindled his relationship with the Kundarak family and did all sorts of stuff, if they asked you to return home back to your Dwarven kingdom and leave Sharn, would you do it? Or not would you? Would Oleg do it?
Is this like a permanent thing or a temporary thing?
Probably for a job, so semi-permanent. Sometime in the near
Probably
future.
not. I would probably try to convince them that I was more useful in Sharn than I would be somewhere else with my current connections, and that I have growth to still have.
You have a Mind Flayer patron too.
Yeah, I would say something about like, you know,
I know a guy.
I know somebody here that kind of needs me to. I got to figure some stuff out. Mostly.
Okay, Alan, what you got?
All right.
Favorite memory.
I got two.
Oh, you got two.
Yeah.
And then we gotta ask Richard's question too, because that's a good one. Because we know a lot of people.
First one is for Carson's character Varian, and then second is for Jacob's character Julian. So for Varian, because you know we've all gone to college, right? And,
Unfortunately.
Yep.
and you know, in like freshman year, when you're like, you know, you're trying to find a group, you know, to hang out with, and like, especially like the first few weeks, like all the other clubs and whatever and groups on campus who are trying to like get you to join.
The dorm rooms are like, come to this community night.
Right. A lot of like orientation.
Freshman are you alpha? It'll be fun.
So what was like the one event or like one club that Varian like ran into like in his first couple weeks of freshman year, but then wasn't able to like do it because he got busy, and like he wishes like he went back and like made the time to do that, or like just did it.
That's such a specific scenario, but I know it so well.
Right.
Like, that is... Oh, God.
Yeah. And it's weird because something did pop up in my head. I would say like drama, like theater.
Wow.
Ooh.
Varian would have been a theater kid.
Yeah, well, I don't know that he fits the archetype of the theater kid. I just know, like, through magic, he really kind of enjoys, like, through disguise self or alter self, kind of like assuming a role and playing it out. Which I imagine, like, in a world where magic exists, as like the opportunities to play different roles would kind of be a lot more open. But yeah, I imagine, and I think I made some throwaway line early on about like my parents forcing me to do drama when I was little to make me like well-rounded. But I think Varian secretly kind of liked it, and then like perhaps tried to engage with it when he first got in college. But I mean, as per the question, just like so much classwork and like extracurriculars, not in terms of like sports or clubs, but just like doing research projects kind of on his own, and even from early in his undergrad, just piled up to the point that he could not do it anymore. But yeah, I'd say like drama, Varian, and deep down kind of has the soul of
Thespian.
a thespian.
Thespian.
Yeah.
And I think you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like whenever we first started playing, like not streaming it, that like when everyone first started playing together, like everyone had sort of had their archetypes of like, oh, you're this kind of person. And so it was very like, Varian was introduced and we were like, oh, okay, so he is the very anxious young adult in college. Like, we got it. And so every time it was like, oh, we can't tell Varian to lie or, deceive or do whatever. He's going to get too nervous to do it. And I feel like very quickly you were like, no, I can do it. Like, I'll be okay. Like, I'll do it. And it may not have worked every single time, but because of, disguise self and also, your skills kind of lend itself to it sometimes, you're able to, like, show, like, yeah, I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like...
Because when I'm pretending to be someone else, I'm not myself. So then I can pretend to do these things.
Exactly. And I feel like, I don't know if Varian specifically fits this, but I feel like generally kids who have very strict parents develop skills of persuasion and deception, and from an early age. And I don't think Varian was like the preacher's kid archetype of like rebelling against that, but like he learned how to like please all of the authority figures as expecting things of him, and like both with deed and word, and that kind of almost in a way fed into this underlying theater kid within him. But yeah, it was very fun of everybody be like, oh, this kid can't keep a fucking secret. And I'm just like,
Watch.
let me just turn into a knoll for a minute and I'll talk our way through all of this.
Yup. And yeah, totally. I love it. I love it. All right, and Alan, you had a question about Julian.
Oh yeah. For
Which
sure.
I want to point out that I'm pretty sure in all the After Dark stuff, most of the questions for Julian were from you. So I'm very also interested to know, like, Alan, what is your fascination with Julian?
Why are you so obsessed with me?
Oh my
I
god.
just really like the idea. I don't know. I just really liked it. And yeah, my question was like, if Julian had, let's say he won a lottery or he got like some anonymous benefactor, because you say you're like a non-profit kind of clinic, right? What would he want to do, and then what would he do with this new financial funding?
If he got a lot of money, he would open up like he would probably like expand his office to make it nicer and bigger, and what he would probably do is he would just hire more people that like are in need of work, like with Fang, that the shifter that we ran into that I essentially gave a job. I would do more stuff like that, where like people that are like people that are smart and that people that like have skills, even if they're not like medical skills. Like Julian would probably hire people to come work in the clinic now that it's bigger, it has better equipment, and then would like teach them how to be like nursing assistants, essentially, like help teach them to like be his like doctor assistants, and just use that to train qualified staff and just help more people. And that's probably where all of it would go to. And then maybe at the end of the day he would like maybe buy a new jacket for himself, but that'd be like it.
I like that.
Because Julian's whole thing is like, he's like, I have seen and witnessed horrible, terrible things and been a part of this horrible thing called war. So like, any way I can get that proverbial blood off of my hands, I'm gonna do it.
And I also
And it's
feel
not
like,
even necessarily like, it's not even necessarily like I'm doing this because it's the right thing. it's almost selfish in a way where it's just like other people may see this and go, oh, he's a good guy for doing all this, but in Julian's mind it's like, I'm a bad person and I'm doing this so later on, like, I can maybe feel good about myself at the end of the day. Because I imagine like a scene in like war where like somebody during the last war, like there's like a Saving Private Ryan-esque scene where like Julian's like holding somebody's guts in place while he's trying to cast Cure Wounds and it's like not working because that person's like way too far gone, and like Julian having nightmares about that kind of thing and like waking up and like seeing blood on his hands and then like fully coming to and realizing like it's just a dream, you don't have blood on your hands, which is like being haunted by that kind of shit. So he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do literally everything in my power to do good in the world, so when I leave I don't feel like I made the world a worse place.
I like that.
I like that too. And that's something, this might turn into a tangent, but something I've started realizing recently, that it's pretty easy to, like, whenever you think in D&D or other tabletop RPGs where magic exists, that it's pretty easy to dismiss, like, things like war or plague or stuff, because you're like, oh, there's healing magic. Like, you know, it'll fix itself. No, because not even a good cleric can only heal a certain amount every day. And
like
then
a catastrophic wound like that, you gotta think like,
yeah.
there's nothing you can do about that.
And even like something like disease, like it's like, oh, there's magic for that. And it's like, yeah, but if a cleric can only remove disease like twice a day, and if people are spreading a disease like 5 people a day, that immediately is going to add up, and that cleric can't stop it. And so it's easy to dismiss stuff like, oh, magic will fix it. But no, unless you have an entire army of healers, there's not a whole lot you can do. And so, like, in the essence of war, like, yes, you're a healer and can save people, but for every one person that you save, 5 other people might get themselves blown to bits. And so it's just like, yeah, I can help it, but not much.
Which is why Julian doesn't sleep a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people get hurt, and a lot of people need to come to his clinic. And unlike clinics in real life, he doesn't charge an arm and a leg.
And yeah,
talking to you, American medical system. Suck.
Very
We have
true.
beef.
Very true. We have beef. We have
Big
beef.
indictment from Mr. Jacob Todd over here.
I'm going to need to take a toilet cat break. There are no toilet cat emotes. There might be a cat in this YouTube thing. Let's find out.
There is Hammer Monkey.
Why is there a hammer monkey? There's no cat
I
though.
don't know. I don't make the emotes.
Oh,
I
there's a
just
cat
thought
coming out of a box. That's close enough, right?
No. Is the cat? Is it Schrodinger's cat? Is it in the box? Is it not?
It's in the
Is
box.
cat
I
Weird.
do like that. I see this little like subscribe icon you've made of the toilet cat.
Yes, the little watermark thing. I love it. I need to toilet cat. I don't know about any of you guys, but I'll probably also get a refill and stuff. If you guys want, we can take a quick few minute break to grab refills, use the restroom, fill up on water. If you don't, does anyone not have to and would rather just sit and talk to people? Cool.
I'm gonna get some water, but I can sit and talk to people. It's gonna take like 5 seconds.
Yeah, it'll take me just a minute or two to get my own refill and stuff. So we'll take a quick 2-minute break, be back. And the questions that we'll get into, or the topics we want to get into, I want to answer Richard's question about your favorite NPCs and people you've interacted with, or places you've been, scenes, just favorite stuff in general. But also, I want to open it up to you guys to ask questions about things you've experienced, and I can try to fill in some of the gaps about some of the mysteries you've solved.
Yeah, I have lots of questions about like what if scenarios.
Yeah, I would love to answer those what if scenarios. So we'll be back in like 2 minutes and keep talking.
Pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger.
Coral.
We'll start with, I guess, NPCs first. Well, what'd you guys do during the break? What refills did you get? What pee did you excrete?
I left a little bit early because my dog was very much needing to go out, and also
Me too.
because I poured water everywhere.
Oh.
But I have Wicked Weed IPA.
Perny? Perny? Penis?
Perniculus.
Pernus.
My perny.
I got a Blue Moon
Classic.
mango wheat.
Ooh, I love the mango wheat. That's a good
My
one.
first time having it, and it's really good.
That's a good one.
Slap.
Yeah. I love Blue Moon. Any of them. They're all pretty good.
Kirkland's signature purified water.
Ooh.
Minerals added for taste.
I went to my favorite brewery, Aldi, last week, and got their...
Did you get some pissed off orchard hard cider?
It's Wicked Grove.
Oh, fun.
What was it? Was it angry? Was it?
Wicked Grove is what it is.
Yeah,
I
evil
love
garden.
that.
It's so good. I love it. This one is White Tide.
The orchard.
By the way, I had the other day I had a weird beer from Wicked Weed. It was a hemp beer.
Yes, I've had that before.
It's not good. It is.
Here's the thing. The legalizing drugs, the way this has gone in America is the fact that now we are so desperate. Stoners are so desperate for like the taste of weed. They're like,
Spirit of
put it
Sam.
in my beer. I want my
Yeah.
beer to taste like a bong rip.
Yeah. It is
It's just
super
an IP,
weird to
whatever.
hear people like I was watching like one of this like YouTubers who's like a famous football kicker. Pat McAfee is his name. But he talks about like on his show how like a lot of professional football players and just athletes in general smoke weed. And they'll say how like desperate they are sometimes for that kind of thing, and how like the instant their drug test is over, they immediately go out and smoke. And it's just so weird how that's the environment we live in now, where it's like everybody knows what's happening. It's in songs, it's in like the environment all around us.
Yeah.
We're making like
That's what's crazy. Is like I saw
Everything
like
around
on 420, like police departments were like posting like, "Hey, we know you're doing it, just so like just don't drive when you do it."
I mean,
And that's-
at least they're aware, but it's just at this point, like, just legal, like, who cares anymore? Quit, just relieve the barriers of entry and just make it easier and regulate it.
At least all the people of color that are in prison for it, please.
There, you're getting to the.
On that note, cameo by Jessica's arm.
Prisons are bad. And
True.
You can take that to the bank.
No, that's true. We can't get into that. Well, I mean, I guess we could if we wanted to.
it's your stream, but no, we probably shouldn't.
So we'll start with like NPCs first. If you guys want to open up to whoever wants to do it. Favorite NPCs or maybe favorite scenes in general that you've had. Favorite
Mystery hot dog
encounters. Mystery hot dog guy. What is it? The khaki castle locations, NPCs, encounters, even just quick quips or lines, like whatever, some favorite moments.
I have two, and they're both because they were like, I find them interesting because they're bad people, or like I don't know what they're about. The parents from the new hires case, I was like, that was like, wow, this is literally you're horrible parents, and I want to know how you got this way. And I also will say Keena Button I find really interesting, mostly just because like I have no idea what she's about. Like I want to know what her deal is, and that might,
Like,
I
if she's
might-
single, is that if she's you want to?
No.
Okay.
No, Donovan's not interested. Everybody gets one, and he's had his one.
I barely heard that, Carson, but I saw you say it.
I don't know.
I'm glad somebody. did.
Jacob doesn't know what he's about. But Donovan's had his one, and he's not gonna get another one. So he's gonna worry about taking care of his skin.
Aw.
But I find Keenan Button very interesting. Also, the random vampire dude.
Oh,
I mean, that'd be
Yeah,
my
he was
last
chill.
one. The random vampire dude,
hard to agree.
very nice.
Yeah,
very
and
cool.
that was even though like the little Barovia thing kind of started as a meme, it sort of like spiraled for me of like it would actually be super interesting to have like, you know, a Chinatown or a Koreatown, but for vampires and like lycanthropes and undead and stuff, and make it a very like more or less pleasant place. And so like whenever you like, I don't remember exactly what the roles happened, but Wendolyn started scaling the building and stuff, and I was like, I immediately had, of course, you know, a vampire has to use their charm to lure Wendolyn into a building. But then I was like, you know what? I don't want all the vampires to be bad. And I was like, maybe he's like worried about her safety and uses his abilities that he doesn't use often to get her inside. And it's like, are you okay? What's going on? And like, that's just an interesting concept.
That reminded me of that bit in one of John Mulaney's things of like, hey, I'm not.
Nah.
Yeah, no, where there was like 3 a.m. and him and like this random woman were like walking down the subway platform, and she started
Yeah.
running.
It's like,
And
oh
he was
yeah,
like, "Oh,
people
hear the
rape
train."
other people.
You must hear the train. And so he started running after her, and she ran faster. And he's like, "Oh shit, I'm a guy."
Yep.
He's probably terrified.
I think one of my
And that
favorite
was
things
like,
about
"No,
that
not
interaction.
me. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm a little boy."
I'm a little boy.
My favorite thing about that interaction was how we all just responded to him being a vampire. We were just like, okay. He was like, I'm a vampire, ha! And I'm like,
Oh, all right.
Wait, is that the guy you gave me his number? I don't remember.
Yeah, you got his info. He gave Xavier. He gave Spike some, you know, Warforged grade liquor.
yeah, I was like,
That's
this is
right.
a really chill guy. I was like, yeah, man.
I didn't.
alright.
I didn't realize his gender. Not that it matters, but it was also one of the things I was just like, okay, wow, what?
Oh no, I know what you're talking about, Travis. You did meet a dwarven vampire later. I think going into Kina's building, and she was like, "Hey."
That's
Yeah.
right.
Now, I love the pacing of that scene, where it's like Wendolyn gets in, and then fucking Oleg like flies up or something like that, or teleports up.
And then other people take the elevator.
Yeah, yeah, and then the rest, somebody else comes in, and then like me and somebody else just knock on the door. So it's just this guy having a series of like unexpected visitors and deals
Yes.
with that.
I
That
think.
actually
He was a chill
leads
dude.
to.
He was just, yeah, whatever. He was happy to have company.
Yeah.
That's
It was
that
definitely
was
a
one of my
weirder night
favorite
for him than
NPCs.
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Pretty on bar. It was like pretty on brand for us, but for him it was like, oh, what interesting strangers.
Kind of similar. One of my favorite NPCs is the guy who's trying to give Wendolyn a tattoo.
Or
Uh,
Killian in like just a few
Killian,
sessions
sorry,
ago.
Yeah.
Killian a tattoo.
In hindsight, you're an owl with feathers. I don't think you can be tattooed, but
I don't think that guy even knows. I gotta be honest.
yeah. Richard mentioned Rolo Robbins.
Bradley asked me if we had run into his NPC he made yet, and I did not know.
You have not, because, and if Bradley watches a VOD or anything, I will go ahead and spoil it because it'll come up. Things took a lot longer than I expected. No matter what, though, effectively no matter what was happening, because of the how the events unfolded, Varian's advisor dies. Like, that was going to happen because it's such a deeply plotted thing that unless you did some crazy stuff, you wouldn't be able to prevent it. Bradley's NPC that he's making is going to be your new advisor.
Oh, fun. on.
He is going to be a transfer professor from outside of Breland, so he's not even from the university.
Interesting.
And so he will be your new advisor, but because things have slowed down so much, it has not. And it took you a while to get to this point of figuring out your advisor's dead. And also, this is just a thing, the university doesn't really know your advisor's dead.
They'll find out.
They'll find out. So it'll take a little while for your new advisor to come in, but that's... Yeah.
I can't wait till we get to the part where we can ask you questions, because I was talking to Carson last night. I have some like Charlie Day-esque like conspiracy theories in my brain, because I was thinking about it last night, and we'll get to it. But like I feel like I'm on to something.
Okay. We'll see.
Yeah. I have 2 NPCs. I want to put with 3. Obviously the khaki barn, Emporium, whatever guy. That was just.
You essentially made that man exist.
Yeah.
So of course.
Yeah, fucking Logan and I yes-anded this.
Well, that whole sequence of events, because, like I've said before, it's almost impossible to prep for you guys. I just have, like, the bare bones, like, beat sheet, and then you guys will, throw a bunch of random shit in. And so for that session, I was like, yeah, you get the case, you go meet with the lady, you go down to the City of the Dead. And then you guys took the entire session like, all right, we're going to get khakis, we're going to go to the bank, we're going to go do this, I'm going to go close up my store.
I just threw that out as like a joke, like, haha, dads wear khakis, isn't that funny? And then Alan was just like, as Roman, he was just like, hey, you want to come to the bank with me? And then maybe go get some new clothes? And I was just like, oh, sure. And so we just ended up creating this NPC just out of this bit, which is always a fun time.
And you didn't just make an NPC, you like fully fleshed out this beautiful arc for Bob. He's like, no, I have to earn the keggings. Like, that was a beautiful moment.
I don't know if beautiful is the right word. It was definitely a moment.
Carved in
It was funny. I don't know if it was beautiful.
Okay, but so the khaki salesman, definitely one of them. Gav.
I was about to say Gav and Sam, very interesting.
Very interesting characters. There's like obviously Varian has like a deep reason to dislike and distrust them because they murdered somebody you knew and liked, and we're going to murder him. But as a player, super like them. Very, very fun and interesting. Kind of these like duplicitous sociopaths is and the third one I'll offer up, Boss, the Warforged.
I love Boss. You haven't had the chance to like spend time around him that much, but just him as an entity, I love Boss.
Yeah,
I want to play him.
Every time we've interacted with him, he's been very colorful, and I like that.
I like Barb, that random reporter from last.
Oh yeah, who was competing with you, and you were like, it's not a competition.
She was so scared. She was like, please, let me have this. Let me just have a shred of news.
And something, and again, I can't prep for you guys. I made Barb up on the spot. I threw all that together in one swift motion. But it all kind of came together very rapidly of like, because when you said like, why are you competing? Like, why is this competition to you? And I started thinking like, yes, there's sort of everyday magic for people, but of course Donovan has superb magic compared to that. And I'm sure most people may realize that by now. And so I've had this thought of like, I imagine other reporters do hold a bit of like animosity and tension toward Donovan for his abilities and just generally his personality, and so they feel the need to be competitive and like, oh man, he has the upper hand, I gotta get this good story in.
Which is funny because for him it's just this is like, oh, we're doing the right thing, like
yeah,
we're making sure the city is a safer place by letting people know like what's happening. And I think in like a kind of like a meaner tone, he's like, it's not a competition because if it was, I would win. So it doesn't need to be one. It's kind of like that thing where you're like, oh, you want to race? That's cute. It's not a race. But if it was,
Terrible.
I'd win.
That's fair. I mean, and that's likely true, but yeah, it's just, yeah. And I think that's generally you all being level. Are you 9 or 10?
9.
9.
I wish we could be.
You could be. You might soon be. We'll find out. Being level 9 characters with all these high level abilities, that there aren't too many in Sharn. Like, probably like 2% of people are on an equal playing field as you, and most of them are in like either they're sort of both ends of the spectrum. The people that are on the same level as you are in either high ranking positions in like a church or a university or an arcane guild, or they're escaped criminals who are living underground in the city. And there's not really a whole lot of in between, so it puts you guys in a very interesting position of like you are effectively everyday people who have the skills to make a change, and it's just that very interesting dynamic that's developed because of that. Wow, that got real deep.
And that's Oleg partly doesn't like the fact that their names are getting so big because now he actually has to care.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go around shooting people if you're a famous person.
Yeah.
What if you become famous for shooting people?
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
Hey, the news is on your side, so as long as you stay on my good side, I'll just say, local dragon mark dwarf kill someone and it's completely justified. This just in.
Oleg, I have a proposition. I
Yeah.
guess more for Travis. You're an inventor.
Yep.
You have guns.
Make a dildo?
No. There are a variety of sporting events and gambling activities in Sharn,
Uh-huh.
but there's not really such a thing as, let's say, airsoft or paintball.
Mm-hmm.
So you could essentially make a sport around non-lethally shooting people if you wanted to take the time to do that.
I don't know if
Oleg starts his paintball enterprise and becomes rich beyond his wildest dreams.
Or is
I just
Oleg
don't
more
know.
about the lethality of it?
I think Oleg likes feeling. I don't know. I think he likes it as more of a, as part of a. I think he sees it as part of his job that he likes. I don't know if he really wants to, like, do it individually. I can see it as part of like a necessary thing that he really enjoys.
I don't
just-
shoot
I
people.
don't. I see. I can't. I for
I
some
don't know
reason
if he
can't
just
wrap
wants to
my
do
head
it,
around
right?
that.
Like, it's not like he just wants to go around and shoot people. I think he
doesn't?
just really,
But he
really.
takes
I mean,
joy.
kind of does. I think he just takes joy in it. I don't know. He hasn't really decided because he's. Yeah, he hasn't decided how he likes it, how much he likes
Yeah.
it.
That's
I don't
and
think Oleg's a good guy.
no, Oleg's definitely. Well, it might be. We'll find out if he says no to the mind flayers and Delkir
I mean,
and
he
stuff.
did have an argument with the mind flayer about like the logistics of like mass
Yeah,
indoctrination.
Yep.
He was
Yeah.
like, listen, we maybe we do, maybe we don't, but what does this do for me?
Yeah, I don't.
do I
It's
get?
not so much he do.
I
I don't
do
think he
not
like.
care if you enslave city. Get out of my house.
I think it's more of just like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's more like senseless killing feels like pointless to Oleg. But like, if as long as there's like a point, like a reason, something's going, like there's a goal at the end. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. Yeah, it is. It is very much like I don't know. He likes shooting guns, but I think it's more so his guns. Also, like he might have to create a paintball that feels satisfactory.
He enjoys the fact that something he created is powerful enough to take life. Is it like a vanity thing?
Wow,
like
that's
that?
it's
No.
getting real
No,
weird.
I don't think it's so much that. I really don't.
Let's
I don't
let's
know.
throw some criminal minds in here. Does it turn Oleg on?
No,
Get some
Yeah.
Freud.
probably.
You get a little bit of
Not like violent video games. No.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck
Oleg
up.
had Grand Theft Auto growing up,
Uh,
and now he's a serial killer.
All right, this is
Yeah.
getting real weird. Xavier, who's your favorite NPC? Or let's maybe two questions. Xavier, who's your favorite NPC? Spike, who is your favorite person you've met?
I know the answer to the second.
Is it your girlfriend?
No.
They're not dating yet. They're not exclusive.
No. Nothing like that. I think my I think one of my favorite NPCs is the little kid at the coffee shop. I don't know if we were streaming when we did this, but at the
think
coffee
we
shop,
were.
the little kid, just like the little weird kid.
Wolf Killer,
Yeah, wolf killer, something like that. And I was
XX
dude,
Wolf Killer XX.
I was like, I love this kid,
No scope wolf in that.
but he was one of my favorites. Just 'cause I love that guy. What's the other one?
For Richard who's watching, before we started streaming, they were doing an investigation, and they found out that the perp that they were trying to track down had gone. This was very clever on you guys. I'll go to reveal. I was not expecting you to pick up on this because it was a literal throwaway detail that you gravitated to. I had mentioned this perp had rented out an office space with the Boromar clan, the mafia, and so it's very secretive. It's very under the table kind of stuff. And they went and visited the person where the office space was. They talked to her, and I literally threw away this line, but she said, "Yeah, he brought me coffee every time he came in." And then they asked, like, where did he get the coffee? And you went to like some of the local coffee shops and figured out like where he came from and figured out some details. That was super clever. That was awesome. But the family who ran the coffee shop, the Hot Dragon, there was a little boy in the family who ran around the shop who said that the guy like smelled bad. He smelled like trash. And you kind of learned that he had traveled through the sewer. And the kid was like, I know how to get into the sewer. Me and my friends, blah, 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 little brat kid stuff. And then you guys had asked, like, what's your name? And he was like, call me Wolf Killer. And you're like, oh, all right, sure. But he was just this little brat.
Yeah, I liked him, and
Noob Master 69, absolutely.
I don't actually like this person, but what's the guy's name? The weird guy that we had to work for that would lick his
Larry the Lick.
Yeah, Larry the
No,
Lick.
you had well, there were two people. There was Mommy's boy that you took the job for, and there was Larry the Lick Tabor who had played poker at the Boromar Club.
Yeah,
Two reprehensible NPCs.
Yeah, NPCs like that, those are my favorites just because it's just you just love to hate them because you're just they're absolutely disgusting, but any scene that they're in, it's gonna be a good one because you're just it's vile.
I went through a period of time where it was like I had a kick of making just the grossest, most despicable NPCs.
That goblin from the Halloween one-shot where you did the middle part haunts my dreams. I think about you with the middle part, and I wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. I'm like,
The best part is Rachel asked about him the other day because he had a name that you guys never asked that Rachel loves, and me and her both use the name regularly, and he still exists. He's a real goblin somewhere in that part of the city. He's real.
one day.
That
Do we get to know his name?
If you ask in the next segment, sure. I'll tell you his name. But talking about reprehensible NPCs, yeah, there's something very pleasing about creating a character that all of your players can unite against and just yeah, this guy's the worst. Because the first one that they took the job for, eventually, you guys don't even remember his name, you just called him Mommy's boy. And for the most part, he was a somewhat normal dude besides some gold filigree on his teeth. And an oversized suit. And at one point, I dropped it randomly, and I said, yeah, Mommy stopped sending me the regular allowances. And you all were like, excuse me? Mommy?
I mean, Mommy and Daddy are just not appropriate. I don't.
Mommy won't give
I
me
know
my
people who do that, but no, I don't.
Exactly. And so that's what started his whole it was a downturn. And then
we found the true villain now.
Mommy's boy. And then Larry the Lick Tabor, you can find this NPC in a one-shot I have published on the DMs Guild that I wrote for the RPG Writers Workshop, unfortunately. He is an NPC that can give out information because he has a gambling problem and is always at this bar gambling. But he has a problem, a nervous tick, where he sits there and he licks his teeth. Yeah, I have the information you need. Well, you give me. And he's just a gross guy.
You know what to do.
He calls himself the Lick because he thinks it's, slick. He's a quick guy, because he's playing poker.
Alan?
What?
It's screenshot time, Alan.
Oh, stop it! No.
Screenshot.
And so that's where that came from, and yeah, there's something very satisfying as the DM to make just an NPC that's just reprehensible. And that's one thing I've loved about Gav is that you all went into it like, fuck this guy, he's who we need, and the more you met him, you're like, fuck this guy, he's the worst. But then it devolved into like, no, he kind of shares some similar ideas to a few of you, Oleg. And
What's crazy is
Yeah.
I think that I love like the trope that like someone views something reprehensible as art. Because it's like you mentioned
Yes.
Criminal Minds earlier. Like I think that that's such like an interesting trope for like a villain. Is that like me
It's a
murdering people
masterpiece.
is a form of art? Like
Mhm.
it's like I'm an actor and I am simply just creating art, and these are just toys and pieces to me. They're not people.
Mhm.
And like that's kind of thing with Gav is just like, I am a bard, I'm creating art, even though I'm literally fucking murdering people. Which is why like Donovan's like, I get it. Like it's like a bard to bard thing. I'm like, okay, like I see what I understand that that you think what you're doing is a form of art, but it's just like just because I understand you doesn't mean that I approve of that.
Yes.
It's like Donovan honestly would see it as like it's a waste of potential, because he would think about like, what if Gab just was like an actual like became
Performer,
an actor or
yeah.
did something like could use this kind of thing to better like the city as a whole instead of just like taking money for hits.
And then this opens it up to like a much deeper, probably endless, infinite discussion of does he have the potential to make that change? And here's one thing I've tried to do with him, and it might change the more you guys interact with him. I've dropped in he is a doppelganger, which means he is an aberration. He is a Delkir creature, which means he is alien, effectively not born of this world. And so there's almost this idea that maybe this is literally like a demon. This is how he's born. He literally is not genetically created to think that way. Similarly, for Oleg, is that what Delkir means? Is that they are truly just not wired and created the same way and will not have the same views, which changes this sort of dynamic you've tried to establish with this mind flare. And it's just this like really interesting like thing to explore of like, is it possible to influence a creature like this?
And I don't think Gav and Sim are bad. Like, I think if anything, they are neutral. Because they don't, like, take pleasure in the fact that they killed somebody.
I think they've taken pleasure in it.
I think that you gotta understand, like, what the pleasure is derived from. They're not gaining pleasure in the fact that, like, they've killed people and people have suffered. They're gaining pleasure from the fact that, like, they believe that they've created some kind of artistic statement. Which I feel like is more neutral, and you could argue that's like neutral evil or like lawful evil, I guess. But like in my mind, it's like you could easily give them money and they would like go kill fucking Ithranel. They would
Pretty
find
much.
a way to do that. Like,
And
it's about the money, which to me is more neutral than it is like evil.
And to reveal a bit of my hand, something you kind of touched on is viewing it as art, and also like what defines successful art. And you can tell that there's this opinion that like people are interested in what is going on. People notice, people talk about it. Therefore, it is successful. And it's sort of like there's no good or bad publicity. It's all publicity. And yeah.
And we're investigating it. So like people care about it so much that they are like literally money and resources are being spent to figure it out.
Yes.
So which makes a lot of sense why Gav and Sim are like over the moon that like they even when they were caught they're like, we don't care.
Yeah.
We weren't about like getting away with it was not their thing.
They were eager to almost talk about it. Like,
For it would probably make them even happier.
This reminds me of Lars von Trier's The House That Jack Built. Kind of this along the same lines, just like a deeply reprehensible person who considers what they do art and kind of deconstructing that and understanding it. It's a really fucked up movie. You shouldn't watch it unless you're ready for it, but it very much along the same lines, and it kind of it's interesting in that it kind of deconstructs that in the sense of like an unreliable narrator, or where it's just like, hey, somebody who's is very much, it's just like everything I do is justified as part of this larger artistic endeavor,
Yeah.
where it's just like, no, you're just selfish and fucking evil.
And also, I think from Gavin Sims' perspectives, like, they both were kind of aware that they were only a piece of the puzzle, so it was very easy to, like, throw it away almost, like, get creative and do whatever with it. Yeah. If we, if we fuck up, it's not, you know, the end of it all, essentially.
I feel like we all are like trying very hard to be like, ooh, we don't like you. You killed people and you tried to kill our friend. We don't like that. But like, I feel like everybody as players is like, yeah, like this you're pretty cool. Like, I understand your motivation.
Yeah, and like we talked about it a little bit, but the moment, Logan, where you narrated like, essentially, Killian rolled some insane
Like a
insight.
32 or something.
And,
Fuck
like,
you, Alan. No, I'm just kidding.
It had put on this play of being like, I was just on my way home, but when Gav like realized the jig was up and just like dropped the facade and was just like, all right, we all know what you want, and you're not gonna get it from me unless you give me a little quid pro quo. I was just like, ooh,
No, and what was
you
terrifying?
bastard, I love it.
People are always like,
Yes.
What's the most dangerous class in D&D? And I feel like Bard is not on anybody's list. But when it comes to social situations,
it is.
Bard, especially like the fact that I'm sure that Killian like barely succeeded on that 32 or some shit like that, because like I know my stats. If I have a 5 in charisma and I'm a high level character, like I could easily beat a 30, or like not easily, but like it's possible for me to beat a 30.
Yeah.
And the fact that like what got me is when I tried to use modify memory and I said something about feeling bad, it was like it doesn't work because like Gav doesn't feel bad about what he's doing.
And it
Like,
was, it's not even that like,
yeah, the Delkir thing, like the alien.
he can't feel bad.
And that's kind of an important part of like moving forward, is we're gonna have to consider that, is that like they're like alien entities, and they are, I guess, wired differently, but it's still like we still have to like hold them accountable in a way, and you gotta have to view it as like a teaching thing where you're like, hey, we get that what you think you were doing was okay, but it's not.
But it's not. And that's what I loved even more. Like, that was already an interesting dynamic anyway of, like, Carson, you said, of the, you know, like, I have what you want, let's make a deal kind of thing. Because he posed the idea of, if it's all thrown, like, if you kill me or if it all goes under within the next half hour, it's all fucked and you're gonna have to start over. And like, paired side by side with this dynamic of Oleg and Spike just like, let's just do it. Like, let's kill him. He's who we need to, and we'll continue the investigation. We'll get it done. And I imagine what the case would have been like if you had just disposed of Gav right then, where you would be now.
And
no idea.
Unless anybody has any more stuff on NPCs, I kind of wanted to get to the point where we pose questions. Because I have like a tinfoil hat theory.
And this is for wow, it's weird only having a few of you here. Carson, Travis, and Xavier. Since we've been playing, we played a little while before we started streaming. Not necessarily spoilery, but as we've seen that there have been some NPCs that have come up from before the stream, or certain events or locations that have come up now in this thing. Effectively, things that happened prior to the stream are still up for grabs. That's still part of the world. It still happens. Those people and places are still in play. And so if you have questions about that stuff, which I know is a long time ago, but those are still all very valid things that might come back around.
Yeah.
So, so I have two things. First of which I would like to pose to people that are not Austin and Carson is, on our current case, I think that Ithranel is some form of shapeshifter. whether that be like some kind of crazy like ancient dragon or some shit, or she's a doppelganger, something like that. Because in the city, nobody has any information about her history except maybe the tyrants, which we're gonna take care of later. And that's weird because nobody just appears from nowhere and rises to prominence without some kind of help or some kind of like ties to what's going on. So, a thought that I had last night.
Last night.
You know who else has no information readily available about them? Gwendolyn.
Rip Wendell.
Gwendolyn's gone. What if
Oh my god.
If-
Gwendolyn is, yeah.
is secretly part of the Order of the Alley and is like a higher up there? That dragon guy in Gwendolyn, go back to the Order of the Alley. And Ithranil is there and is like, hey, I'm going on a crusade against the Dragonmark family. This is why I'm right. Gwendolyn goes, you're my boss. I'm with you. Because I have a grudge against the Boromar clan, and I have things that I want to, that I find wrong with the city. That's my tinfoil hat theory.
My theory is that Gwendolyn should instantly die. And really that
shit.
Alan just likes betraying everybody.
Honestly, I know I'm wrong. Like that's like
No,
not
that
right.
sounds like a good theory, honestly. Like
But-
an actual.
I think
If I'm right, I will literally eat glass.
If you're right, you will eat glass.
Eat some glass then.
Am I
think
right?
Gwendolyn is probably one of the best characters I've made and played.
Because
You
she's
didn't make Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn is just the epitome of stirring the pot. She is
Yeah, I
just
didn't
that
make
that's
Gwendolyn.
all she was.
Logan, this is probably one of the best characters you've
Yeah,
made.
I made for you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I was about to say you didn't even make Gwendolyn.
You almost played an elderly gay goblin who was just a theater retiree. You almost played that. That was almost your character.
That was on the table.
That was on the
God
table.
damn it! That sounds amazing.
That does sound amazing, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I still think Alan's best character, in my opinion, is
The fish,
Lifeguard.
the lifeguard. Yeah.
Gilhole.
Gilhole.
Just because Gilhole and everything else. I don't.
That meme you made very shoddily, Travis.
Is this a Gilhole?
Share that. Can you find a way to share that real quick, Travis?
I still have it downloaded. Give me a second. I'll put it on the stream.
It's on Discord.
No, I'll add it. Give me a minute. Keep talking.
No, steal an Angel's concept. There's such thing as VTubers, where you have like a virtual model. Just be a PTuber, which is a picture. Just post that picture in the bottom like of the screen, and that's your icon for when you
Maybe.
I just
Oh my god.
how small the type was in that one section sent me to the fucking moon. It was amazing.
But hey, I know I'm wrong. But if I'm right, you all are a witness. You all hear me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like somebody whispering in your ear ever so softly, just like, Gilhole.
I know for Spike, one thing I've been doing with Spike, is Spike really does not want to believe that Gwendolyn betrayed them.
Mhm.
Because for Spike, the way that he saw everyone in the detective group is like, you know, it's pretty obvious that like with his apartment, with there being nothing there but just like a table and a chair, Spike doesn't have like a lot of like friends or family or anything like that. So when it comes to the detective group, like that is his family, right?
Oh.
And so for Spike, the idea of Gwendolyn betraying everyone and just like stabbing everyone in the back is something that he's just like he understands it, but he just refuses to accept it. And I'm wondering, because that's one of the reasons why I'm pushing, trying to like find where is Gwendolyn so hard, because I'm just like, Spike desperately needs to believe. He desperately needs to make sure and confirm that Gwendolyn did not betray them.
It's
Is
like
Alan
a-
deciding that? I'm curious.
It's like
That's
a Naruto
kind of
Sasuke moment.
It really is.
Find it.
Like, you all have known Gwendolyn for like a little longer. I don't know when Gwendolyn, like when the exact like timeline is of how long that like you've been working together. But like,
It's It's been like a while because it's been like months.
Yeah, she appeared during the little bits
The
of stuff
theater.
at the Diamond Theater, and that was like a month or two prior to when we started streaming in game.
So I guess like for Donovan, it's like he's only known you guys for like a week, less than that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he did his research on everybody beforehand, so like he knew what to expect. Because in my headcanon, I don't know if this is true, but in my headcanon, like he's written articles about a lot of you already. Like, just like, because the thing is, dragon marked people are essentially like celebrities.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
they're important to like the foundation of the city and like the hierarchy of the city, but people also, it's kind of like like regular celebrities in real life. People want to read about them, so he probably would have had to do like a fluff piece about like
Prince Edward.
whatever. Damadani Damadani Air.
His hair.
Achieves full ride scholarship as a grad student or something. Or even if he didn't write it, he would have like seen it.
Damadani hair out of control.
I mean,
Or
kinda.
like local vigilante brings in 5 Boromar clan criminals for a record bounty collection or something like that. Like he's probably written about everybody, so he knows everybody already. But for Wendelin, like I said when I first started playing, like nobody knows anything about her. Like all that stuff about Wendelin's history with the Boromar clan, like nobody knows.
Yep. And I specifically made a point of like, you
Amazing
can't
work.
find.
Yeah, doesn't know. Which is like, whenever this stuff went down, I kind of wish that I had asked more questions in the moment. Like, because there was that moment where it was just me and Wendelin on the ground. And Wendelin was like, I got this. And I was like, okay.
Logan.
I know that there was one scene where Donovan, he was just like, "Oh, well, we should just like forget looking for Wendelin."
Yeah,
And
forget about
knew-
it.
I was like, Spike. In that moment, Spike was just like, Donovan just lost points for me. I was just like,
Well,
I
and
cannot
that's the
believe
thing
you would
is,
say
it
that.
wasn't like, when I said that, it wasn't like, we should not care about Wendelin. It was like, Wendelin obviously does not want to be found.
Yeah,
And
I know.
didn't, like,
I
didn't know.
understand
And the
what
thing
you
is,
were
like, I didn't
saying.
explain myself in that moment, and I completely understand why Spike would interpret it that way. Because, like I said, we've not known each other that long, so you don't know what I'm about.
Yeah, and Spike was like, "How dare you just show up and just say that we shouldn't look for our friends?" Spike was like mad.
And that's the thing is, like, I get that, but it was also it's the thing with intention, like, as opposed to like how it comes across.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I think that Donovan has high enough wisdom to like, if we scried and we tried to find Wendelin and we could not find her, it was because she's doing something and she does not want to be found at this current juncture. And it's kind of like callous as it sounds. Donovan's like, we don't have enough time for this. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't want to be found, and we've got pressing concerns right now. And if she's not going to be a part of this, we don't need to worry about it.
effort.
Yeah. But and that's kind of the thing. It's something that I guess we haven't really talked about a lot. But it's very funny that like all of us have known each other like a good like 2 or 3 years now. So like it's very hard to get in a game where we're like, oh yeah, Travis doesn't know Jacob, so we're just kind of figuring this shit out as we go. Like it's very hard to like act in the way where you're like, I'm not gonna tell you things. I just met you, you weirdo.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's also like there's the meta conceit where you're like, we're a party, so we need to work together.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, I met this reporter man like a week ago. I don't need to tell him my entire life story because we're not really friends at this point.
Yeah.
Let's say wait till next campaign where we're all brand new people. We have no idea who we all are. It's just gonna be like it's gonna be like 2 sessions where we're just like I don't know you.
And honestly, I am so excited for the opportunity to learn, and like figure out who people are as characters again, because that shit is so fun.
Yeah. I'm definitely kind of wanting to lean more into a found family trope next campaign, because like this campaign almost kind of reminds me of Unsleeping City in that, like, when Brendan talks about it, it's just like, these are all adults who have lives and jobs, and they're not like, it's not like classic fantasy where you're like camping together every night. So it's like most of these is like Oleg and Varian go back a while, and then like most of the main party has known each other for like a few months and been working together, but we're not like we're kind of like work pals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is a very fun dynamic to do, but yeah, I think that's kind of where I want to go, at least with my character next campaign, and of being more along the lines of just like, hey, let's like warm up together and explore each other's lives and backstories.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Logan, if you want to talk about this, but I think that without revealing what we're doing for the next campaign, might be fun to talk about like what kind of characters or archetypes we're interested in playing moving forward past Shar. That could be a fun thing to talk about if we want to.
Does anyone have any more campaign questions of past adventures? Oh, Jesus.
I was curious about when we went to see Keena Button and she kicked us out. Carson and Austin and I were talking about the reasons why she wanted us to leave. She did say that she can't afford to give up any information right now, which makes sense because Ithranel was there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious that if I had succeeded in reading her mind, if we would have learned anything that would have led us to what's happening right now. Or would that have been like a completely different side of the coin we would have learned?
It might have been a different side of the coin. You may have been, it may have Ithranel's intentions, or Ithranel's, hand in all this.
The master plan.
Yeah, may have been revealed a little earlier than it has now. But even for the most part, I will go and say that Keena Button doesn't really know about even Ithranel's full everything that she's doing. She just knows that Ithranel is a well-connected person, and
a good ally to.
Yeah, and a good.
She wants to be on their side.
Yeah, but also Keena Button knows that Ithranel doesn't have the greatest intentions, and so the meeting was fairly in good faith. But Keena Button sort of was getting heated about it because she's like, I know that if you help me, then I owe you, and I don't want to owe you anything. So, like, she knows that Ithranel is strange and is well-connected and doesn't want to be involved with it. So she doesn't necessarily know the full breadth of all that is happening, but she has her own ill opinions.
And we were speculating about that last night, about, like, what her and Vampire Kind have to gain from Ithranel Adana succeeding in whatever she's doing.
Yeah.
And we had, like, a couple of ideas, which I can't reiterate enough how nice it is to be able to talk to someone face to face about my harebrained ideas about Sharn. Like, sitting in a room with Austin and Carson being like, this is why I think Wendelin is the true culprit. And what was funny is, that wasn't even an idea I had for a long time. That literally just popped into my brain last night. I was like, you know who else has no information about them? Wendelin.
I don't know if it goes down as, like, my all-time favorite, but I think that session of Wendelin talking to this dude is one of my favorite scenes because of the repercussions of it. Because it was so one-sided, like, it was just Wendelin and that dude, and the party only picked up on things here and there, and it has caused such...
for most of it.
Yeah.
And I was, like, watching, and the thing is, like, that was one of those things where, like, I was like, I'm not going to say anything. Because I was like, I'm going to let Alan do his thing. And in character, I was like, I think also for Donovan, it was like, I have no idea what Wendelin is about. It's time to learn.
And boy, did you. That's just,
I
oh,
learned
man.
nothing. I learned nothing. There's literally more questions. There was no answers.
I just loved that whole scene. It was so fascinating. So
That's
fascinating.
one of those
And
moments
also just like thinking about like how it like just imagining it in our heads too, just like this district in the city that's like
Dead
strewn
bodies
with like a massacre of people, and like we're all just like trying to be sneaky but also just kind of scouting out like Oleg is up top like monitoring the situation like a helicopter, and like the rest of us are trying to like advance slowly. And then there's just this dude with a giant sword just like carving into the ground, just like how, I don't know, this is really cool.
And I think especially like that idea, that's like a very like I feel like that's a high fantasy scene, and then to have that immediately like parallel to the bustling city of Sharn and people going to work and like, oh man, I gotta go into the shop today and sew a bunch of suits for people, and like
man,
this
I gotta go buy a new
crazy
pair of khakis.
yeah, and this crazy thing happens in the middle of the city. That's such a strange dynamic.
That's like that's like one of those moments where like you open up a movie to like a scene that the audience doesn't understand, and it does like that Sonic thing of like, oh, you're probably wondering why I'm here or something.
That's exactly.
You're wondering how I got here.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
I think that that's the beauty of like unscripted stuff, like actual plays, is that there is shit that just seems so innocuous and dumb, or stuff like that that's just like this grand epic like mental portrait that just really take off. Like the two examples are that scene where like everybody's up in the sky coach and Wendelin and me are like on street level and we're talking to this guy.
Good night,
and then
Richard.
literally-
Thanks for hanging out, bud.
Bye, Richard.
Bye.
And then there's literally the polar opposite of Bob saying Bobby needs a win, like the shit like that. Where like that's like that beautiful. That's like the bread and butter of D&D where you just say something and everyone's like, "That's funny."
That's good. Yeah, it
Time
hits
to make that an emote.
it hits different. Okay, so before I guess we start talking about the future, because and for people who watch the VOD, because I'm gonna hopefully post the VOD of this, we have only just decided what the next campaign was gonna be, and I only think I've told everyone. I've told everyone in sort of random pockets of whoever I'm around at that point. But I'll go and say I don't care too much. It's for my Patreon people. We voted on a as you can see by my shelf behind me. We voted on a heap of different campaign ideas, anything between just a fully homebrewed thing. We even threw around the idea of doing like a full, like, other tabletop RPG as far as like a full campaign goes. But our bread and butter, our tried and true, our preferred weapon is Dungeons and Dragons. So we talked about all sorts of campaign settings. I have my bookshelf very well organized. Campaign settings. Doing a homebrew campaign, and also doing some actual pre-written campaigns, some hard book campaigns. And we have voted and agreed upon, and I was very surprised that everyone voted for this campaign in their top 3.
You know what it is?
Yeah, I'll go and say what it is. I don't care. We're gonna be doing Rime of the Frost Maiden, Icewind Dale. Which, if you don't know it, look it up. Do your research. Do your googling.
Wait, were we supposed to just do 3?
Yes.
Were you the one that voted for almost all of them? Alan!
Okay, first of all, are you surprised?
I'm not, but I assumed it was either you or Travis.
Alan, you're cut. You're cut.
Oh man.
No, but you're fine though.
Now this.
I guess Alan, if you don't want to do Rime of the Frostmaiden, let me know.
No,
But
it's fine.
yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
exactly. There was even instructions, Alan. Man, this is just the epitome of the typical D&D group.
Epitome of Alan.
Patreon viewers, we're actually looking for Alan's replacement.
Apply
if you
here.
take Alan's spot in this actual play, please apply below.
So if you have not researched it, Rime of the Frostmaiden is essentially a combination of like survival and horror in the northern areas of the Forgotten Realms, where it's nothing but snow and perpetual darkness. So it is going to be a vast, if not opposite, an entire change of pace from Sharn. And on top of that, which I'm sorry in advance for you guys, but on every other Friday, I DM the game Shadows over Drift Chapel, which is all sorts of full of Cthulhu Eldritch horrors. And I'm learning a lot about the mechanics and themes of survival and horror. So I might really turn it up to 11 for Rime of the Frostmaiden and throw in some stuff that's not even in the book just to really drive it home. But that's what we're going to be doing. And I know a bunch of you, by a bunch of you, 2 or 3 of you, have talked about the characters you want to play. Because I know how a lot of us are, and the moment there's even the scent that a new campaign is coming, it's immediately like, oh, this character idea, this character idea, this character idea. So of course, I imagine that you have your ideas and things you want to do. But also, something that's a little bit beautiful about character creation is you start to think about the characters you've played and how you want to change it up and differ from those things. And so, yeah, we can talk about what we want to play in the future, as long as no one else has any final questions about the current Shar Knights thing they want answered. In 5. Wow, I'm very surprised. If anyone
I'll
wants...
think of something in like 5 minutes.
That
Don't-
tracks.
don't
That
worry.
we'll have an epilogue, a little extra thing at the end. I know that Alan didn't even know what Rime of the Frostmaiden was, so I assume that he doesn't necessarily have a immediate character idea that comes to mind. But maybe the ski instructor that Travis posted about.
That's really a cursed idea, and if you do
I
that,
love it. I love it so much. You don't understand.
No, that
Alan,
was great.
please.
Yeah.
Please, Alan, do it.
Yeah,
I
just
really do
love
want
how they heard like, okay, so this is like kind of a monster body horror setting in like darkness and snow. It's just like, you know what would be a perfect character to fit with that tone? Ski instructor.
I
I'm
just think
that
about
was like the epitome of Alan's character.
He's got like highlighter orange on his outfit, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I always just think about that
eventually-
episode from It's Always Sunny when they go skiing, and it's just like, God, it's so good. I can just see it, that Alan playing a character like that.
We're eventually gonna make our way to Ghosts of Saltmarsh, where Alan is inevitably gonna play
The
like
lifeguard.
a kayak instructor.
Camp counselor who specifies
Yeah.
in water activities. I like that most of the time now, Alan literally has no input on the things we throw on him. It's just us, like, Alan's gonna play this character and this character and this character, and that's it. That's the end of it.
it's just like Exhibit A, dumb idea, is Alan's new D&D character.
I'm gonna-
I really liked my character
cartoon
idea.
The ski instructor was good. I'm gonna post a meme that's very much a pointed Alan meme. Courtesy of B. Dave Walters on Twitter, he posted this rad meme that very much sums up Alan's character making ideas.
Were you posting it?
It's just on the stream. It's on the stream. I can post it in the chat as well. In our
Yes. Yeah, I saw that the other day. I was like, yep.
that's Alan.
This is literally what I was gonna be.
That was literally his one-shot character idea.
Up until like
The day of, like 2 hours before. You were texting me and like, okay, so if I do this character idea, I'm like, Alan, we're playing in like an hour.
Oh my god. I have seen this. That's amazing.
That's Alan through and through right there. Truly.
Cursed. On the stream.
I'll
Hello, what's up?
that's you. That's you.
No.
So if you guys take the floor, I know Carson has been texting me a lot about his character idea.
I have.
And
I-
frankly, I'm in love with it. It's very amazing and adorable. And also Austin, R.A.P. Austin, has messaged me about his character idea as well. And I'm also a huge fan. He and I went on a long conversation about it. But if you guys have ideas you want to throw out there about your characters. Also, though, I know there is a strange allure to having the secret character and the reveal during the session, but we're going to place a session 0 or 3 or 4 to get into the group before streaming. So don't necessarily worry about the big reveal of your character, because we'll be playing plenty beforehand.
I do not care about like the allure of it. I have a couple of ideas that I might do, but the one that we were telling Logan earlier, Carson and I were just role playing our new characters very casually last
Of course
night
you were.
for fun.
Sure, as
Yeah.
you do, as you do.
I was telling Carson and Austin, I really find like deadpan characters very funny. That's like one of my favorite like tropes when somebody's just like super like deadpan delivery to things. And the idea I had was kind of was influenced by the first ever stream you did on your channel when we did that Feywilds one shot.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
I want to play, and I was thinking about doing an Abjuration Wizard again, but my concept is which is very funny because it's just kind of like it goes into the thing where the trope that's like you play a little bit of yourself in the game. My character would be a teacher at a magical university, like a young magical teacher, but he goes to Icewind Dale on vacation because it's the one place he knew that his students would never go. And so he's like a 28-year-old teacher, like university teacher, going to like on vacation. He's like, I'm just gonna go here and read, and now I'm wrapped up in this crazy adventure because I was in the wrong
Place,
at the right
wrong time.
Yeah.
See, I feel as though, generally, from a very spotlight, way far away point of view, that is a very, like, simple's the wrong word, but that's, like, a very clever and quick way to get your character involved and stuff. But part of me also thinks that that's, like, the hardest thing to play, because your character is only there temporarily, theoretically, and at any point they can be like, no, please get me out of here. And that's the hardest character to play is the character who doesn't want to be there and has the means to get away.
And
That's the hardest kind of character to play.
I envisioned it kind of like for y'all weebs out there, like Aizawa Eraserhead from My Hero, that kind of thing where he's very deadpan, he's kind of scary, but like he legitimately cares for like his students and the people around him. He's just not super great at showing it. And that's kind of like, that would be kind of the trope, is that like, these people need help, and I'm gonna help them, but they don't need to know that I'm like happy to do it.
And also to paint it in almost a different way, if you're a teacher on vacation, maybe for some kind of break or something, that imposes a time limit. You have to be back by a certain point to continue teaching. And so then that immediately adds an extra layer of tension to the actual story. I love that.
We were talking about it, and I just imagine like this party meeting up in Icewind Dale, like we have to do this thing, and I'm just like in the tavern, like at a corner with a book, and I like put the book down. And I'm like,
huh?
I'm in. Which,
I
like,
need some
super
excitement in my
unenthusiastic,
life.
I guess. So I had that idea, and I was also considering like Xavier and like we were talking about the other day about doing a wildfire druid and how it would be very interesting to play up like the dynamic between like fire and ice in a setting that's all cold and wintry, having like a fire-based character.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an idea a while back for just a random character that was like a wildfire druid that was a like woodland construct. It's like a warforge, but essentially just like a tree person that is just like
Pinocchio.
Kind of like that. No, not at all, actually.
You don't want to play.
Little boy puppet.
Yeah,
we got
obviously,
it.
of course. Yeah, I get you.
Like a construct that is just like the embodiment of like neutrality in a forest. It's like a forest protector, and it's a wildfire spirit. It's like this flaming like tree person.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a couple ideas. I don't know. Who knows what I'll go with?
I would say if you're trying to be like the spirit of the forest, Fearbolgs are wonderful races to play.
I love a Firbolg.
Yeah, really, really good. So if you might want to look into that too.
Big nature vibes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because I
I
know,
was thought about playing a like very martial based character.
gotta fight.
And I test played that in a test play thing you did, Logan. Like what I might do, but who knows? It just really depends. Like we've literally got like 2 or 3 months until we actually start doing this. So like we all have plenty of time to decide. But I've talked long enough.
Yeah, and this is a separate tangent, but something I mentioned to the people I was talking to at the time. I think it was during the last session. So I think Alan was the only one who might not have been there. When we sort of decided on Icewind Dale, it's something I told Carson as well. Something that I've seen and I already expected from Rime of the Frost Maiden is that because I've also heard similar things about Tomb of Annihilation, there's a lot of adventuring and travel, exploration as part of the campaign. And because it's Icewind Dale, it's mostly always nighttime and it's always sub-zero temperatures. So survival is important. Finding the right amount of food, water, making sure you can keep a fire through the night, all that kind of stuff. Unless I don't talk to many people about it, but one of my favorite games is The Long Dark, which is about a snowpocalypse in Canada on an island, and it's all about surviving in this tragic, horrible winter.
Only
So
the real one remember Snowpocalypse.
yeah, true. So I am very much geared up for Rime of the Frost Maiden, but I want to make the survival and exploration a huge component. Like, I don't want you to think like, oh, it's only 3 days to the next town. I want you to think, oh shit, it's 3 days to the next town. I want it to be a thing. And so what I told Carson a little bit is like, if you want to play a ranger or druid or cleric or whatever it is, and you have access to healing magic or guiding magic, divination, and things like Goodberry or purified food and drink or create food and water, like that could very easily disrupt the survival stuff, because if you can just create something that completely mitigates all of the survival aspects of a campaign, then that's half the campaign that might be completely skipped over. So of course I will elaborate into further challenges and XYZ stuffs. So even, a ranger who is an expert at tracking and finding food I will essentially turn it into a challenge for you. You have to make checks to do it, rather than just like gloss over it.
Create bonfire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, create bonfire is a 6 spell at that point, right?
Exactly. And you get to utilize those sort of lesser used spells, but I still want to make it a challenge and part of the game rather than just something we brush off. And so then turning it into more of a skill challenge, or turning it into throwing in some more random encounters, or whatever it might be. Just making it still a part of the campaign, because as much as I want to get to the story and to beat the campaign, I want you to earn it. I want the actual, the reason why no one else has done this is because it's, difficult to travel, and if you guys are like, oh, we'll just go do it, then that takes away the earning, the journey, the adventure.
Yeah, create bonfire. Great for keeping you warm. Also pretty great for drawing in predators.
That too. Yeah, and that's...
Or bandits, or anything that might want to kill and or eat you.
Yeah. And one of the other things I had mentioned was something I'm doing in my Shadows Over Drift Chapel campaign, is I started them at level 8, which is fairly high level to start a campaign at, but because we're doing some really gritty rules, level 8, it doesn't matter. Like, if they'll take 40 damage in a single turn, it doesn't matter that you're level 8. And also, it doesn't matter that it takes you an entire day or a week to regain your spell slots or hit points. Like, a hit is a hit. And so similarly for Rime of the Frost Maiden, if things seem too easy, or if you guys want to play an entire party of rangers and druids and clerics, I'm absolutely going to add in some rules of slow healing and gritty long rest variants and stuff like that, just to keep up the intensity, because I still want that to be enjoyable. But other thing as well I've done in Shadows Over Drift Chapel is, rather than leveling up after each milestone, doing alternate rewards like a feat or magical item or a boon or a charm, like a very layered thing. Not layered, a tiered thing that after certain encounters they get this. And so they just did a huge milestone and they got a feat for it, because a week is a long rest. And so similarly for Rime of the Frost Maiden, to really nail in two things: the survival aspect of the campaign, but also I want you guys to grow into your characters before you make crazy decisions about what you take for subclasses and feats and stuff.
That cat.
Look at that cat punkin'. Before you make great decisions about your subclasses, feats, or whatever, spells even, I want you guys to grow into your character some. And so what I would probably also do is space out the level ups a little bit farther and reward you with feats and charms in the meantime. So that way you still have ways of improving and advancing and improving your characters. But that way you don't have to make giant decisions every time something happens. And that way it'll also prolong the survival aspects of it because you stay at lower levels longer. That was a huge long tangent, but I think it's a thing.
Before we go back to the original question about what kind of character we want to play, I love the fact that Rhyme of the Frost Maiden has that secrets thing about like how there's a secret that each character can like either choose or get assigned that affects how the campaign plays out. I love that.
I do too.
And I honestly hope for modules moving forward they do stuff like that, because there's nothing more satisfying than having a character that is very closely connected to like the source material and the things that are happening in the adventure.
Yeah.
Because it makes it feel like, oh, this was written for you.
And I think as far as creating characters go, what I'll probably do is essentially force you guys to tie something into what's going on. So if you want to play like tie your class into it somehow. So if you want to play a druid, tie your druid into the events of this snowy wasteland. If you want to specifically play like a Goliath, Goliaths have their own lore for Rime of the Frost Maiden. But if you don't, or if you can't find a way to tie in your class, race, or background into the greater scheme of things, we can give you a secret and tie you in that way. And so basically, I'm going to force you guys to tie your characters in one way or the other to make sure that you always have a reason to keep playing. Because that's the worst thing of a campaign, is whenever you lose track of like, why am I even here? Like, that's the worst.
Can I go home?
Yeah. Ugh, I hate that feeling.
These are just all so interesting. Like, I obviously won't go into detail about all of them, but like, I think one of the ones that really stuck out to me was like a Slod, which is like a frog demon thing, has implanted its egg inside of you, and your whole reasoning is like, I need to find someone in Icewind Dale
can stop this
and get this egg out from inside me before it explodes out of my chest and kills me. And the DM has like suggested times that this might happen in the story, which is just like
evil.
horrifying.
I love it. It's so good. I love shit like that.
What's worse is they're supposed to be randomly assigned. Like a lot of the secrets, like that's like an option where like they can just randomly assign you a secret. So imagine you pull that one, and you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
I guess I have to figure this shit out.
And that was something Austin and I had talked about. I'm not going to reveal too much, Austin, in case you go back and watch this. But his character concept that he had come up with.
We already know about it.
I imagine you do. Other people don't. The secret that he had sort of randomly, or he was talking about whether to randomly determine a secret or not. And I know Austin. I know how he thinks. He had a very concrete idea of what the character concept was. And there's always this worry of like, what if the secret you draw randomly doesn't fit in with your concept? I argued that that makes it even more interesting. That if you have a character that is, you know, brutish and just a mercenary out here in Icewind Dale who fights monsters, that if you have something that's like, you have a family that you're trying to take care of, that's such an engaging secret because it is the polar opposite of what you do. And I love that kind of stuff, rather than just like, you know, adding on to your normal concept, making something that's opposite. Yeah, so I know, Carson, you already have all of your character concept somewhat in your brain, living rent-free, as it were.
It's been living in my brain for like a week now.
So I want to throw it over to Xavier or Travis, for a number of reasons. I know that recently the Theros campaign has wrapped up. The Avernus campaign... No, Theros didn't wrap up. Avernus wrapped up, and you're still doing Theros, right?
Yeah, I'm still doing Theros.
Yeah, you're still doing Theros.
Group of people.
Yeah. So Travis playing in Avernus, that character just wrapped up. But what kind of characters do you guys want to pursue? I know, Travis, you've mentioned I still it blows my mind that you're so in love with your turtle druid. But like, and I know Xavier, you're kind of more DM now almost. Like, what kind of character concepts are you guys looking forward to maybe pursuing, or at least at the bare minimum, like some classes or just an idea that you want to look more into or plan around?
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. I really want to be tied into Icewind Dale in some way.
Of course, of course.
And so I want my character to be from there. I really like the idea of the Goliath from that they changed from Icewind Dale. I also have briefly seen, just because I was looking up like just character ideas. I've briefly seen possibly tie-ins for like hobgoblins or barbarians or things of that sort. And so I really like the idea of the Gloomstalker Ranger as a possibility, just because it's such a gloomy environment.
Yeah.
And its ability to see with like dark vision in such a range and being able to be invisible in the dark is kind of nutty.
You have to talk, Travis.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know. I haven't played a like pure charismatic character in a very long time.
That's true. And like, I heard about your evil druid, and evil druid, I think just as a whole doesn't sound like the most charismatic character. I think any druid is never the most charismatic character, and Oleg isn't necessarily the most charismatic character. So I would love to see you as like the face, the talker.
I actually, so funny you say that, because my druid was the talker of the group.
But I remember you saying that you shouldn't have been.
No, I most certainly should not have been. We had a paladin, we had like other people whose charisma was higher, but like, they just like looked at me and they were like, all right, how you doing? And even after I betrayed them, like, they still were just like, so,
that's a good party.
What's the plan?
It was very funny too, because I was just like, he's not a good guy.
You know this, right?
I'm like, you all watched him murder a man and put seeds in his feet, and he's your leader? This is your king? Okay.
And it was a party of all the characters.
Moments at the end where you're like, I'm questioning the choices you're making as a unit, but I guess I'll let this ride.
Yeah, it was just because he was such a commanding personality just by not even saying anything. Sometimes they would like literally just look at him in a corner, like standing still, and they were like, this guy can fuck.
This guy can fuck.
It was like the definition of presence. Like, he would just be in a room and everyone's just like, shit.
I mean, hey, it's a good character concept.
But yeah, so I definitely want to be tied in some way.
Yes.
To the environment, and I definitely want to be charismatic, but I don't know what I want to do for it, because I've played so many of these characters for like charisma based, and even like I've thrown around the idea of Professor Lockhart for like forever, of being like that charismatic,
the bumbling charismatic guy.
Yeah. Just to see what it would be like would be super fun. I guess it depends on how I roll too.
That's
one
true.
of my favorite concepts Sam actually came up with, and he did it for a one shot, and it was a goblin sorcerer who thought he was a wizard. So he just pretended to be super smart. It was kind of like the Lockhart thing, where it's like he pretended to be super smart.
But he had no idea what he was doing.
He had no idea what he was doing, and it was all just then like natural, like charisma sorcery stuff.
I love that. I love that kind of concept. So
I decided that, and this kind of goes into what you were, I guess Travis is kind of alluding to, is like kind of doing the opposite of what we're doing in Sharn. Is like I decided that in Icewind Dale, not gonna be a charisma character.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's very easy to fall into the trap where it's just like, oh, I'll be the face, let me talk, because it's kind of, for me, it's very natural to be like, I'll just say some shit.
Yeah.
And it's more fun for me to be like, I'm gonna do something against type, where I'm just gonna sit here and be really quiet and silently wonder to myself why these people are doing things.
Why they do that. So, Travis, you're in an interesting position to ask this question. And I know how people be. You play characters that, you know, you enjoy playing and, you know, align to certain normal ways you play. But as a person who is currently DMing through Curse of Strahd, as you go into now playing, I guess, in somewhat of a horror-filled survival campaign, do you have any kind of different character creation, like, reservations or aims as you make a new character? Like, because I know in Curse of Strahd, if your players or characters are not invested in the gothic aspects of it, it becomes very unsatisfying of like, please just take him seriously, please. And so, like, I wonder if that changes your idea or your process for making a new character as being a person who has DM'd now a horror campaign.
I think now that I've DM'd, I think the biggest thing is mostly just creating a character that, like, overall has more. Like, saying, like, okay, so for example, like, Tare, he wanted to, or let's go to Oleg. Oleg really wants to be the new face of his, like, he wants to be a bigger face of
Yeah.
the family, and he wants to, like, have more Dalkir magic. I really want something that has, like, a next step, right? Like, that has a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to create characters that were just like, it's me, but as a sorcerer. It's me, but as a fighter, right? Like,
Yeah.
or like, oh, this character, he's dark and moody, and his family was dead. Like, that kind of thing, I hate it. I really like the idea of, like, now that I've DM'd especially, it's been one of those things of like, okay, but like, what does your character want? Like, why, or like, how does your character do things? I really ask my players a lot more now of like, okay, so like, how does your character cast this? Or like,
Mm-hmm.
how does your character do this thing? Because it's really important for you to think of like, okay, yeah, I'm not just like a random person like
Yeah.
casting fireball.
So
like,
what?
Yeah.
So what? Why? What is this? Why are you doing it? How does this affect you?
So yeah, it's like the and part is really big for me. Now that I have, and the big reservation obviously for me now is like, I don't want to play anything naturey or anything intelligence based at this point, and that's really hard because that's like half of the classes.
That's a little bit of my worry from jumping straight from Sharn to Ryan the Frost Maiden. And why I hope to play some new tabletop RPGs in between then, because a lot of you are playing either intelligence, wisdom, or charisma-based characters. And so if all of you go into the next campaign with like, I'm going to play strength and dexterity characters, and then none of you have any intelligence or wisdom, it might make it a little bit harder to do
Dude,
things.
I'll punch the snow. I don't care, dude.
I mean, I would love to do I would really love to do a blood hunter at some point.
True, yeah.
Just
Blood
because
Hunter's very cool.
I don't know really anything about it. I know it's intelligence based, but I know I can like twist it a little bit for charisma based, right? I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out. Like, I kind of want to do a character that also has a ton of charisma. Like, maybe you're like looking at it and you're like, this is a source. I mean, or this is like a wizard. Why would they have a bunch of charisma? But I just kind of want a character that just like has a ton for no reason.
I will also say you can easily do that, because when I made Spike, I made him to be more intimidating than charismatic, and he just fell right into the charismatic pool, and I was just like, I guess this is what we're gonna go for. So it's kind of just like how you want to play the character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't worry too much on like, you know, what the class calls for. And like, if you want to be a little bit more charismatic, that's just
You can
how
make
you
it work.
define the character. Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
as another point, I really want to play rogue at some point.
I
Or
love a
monks,
good rogue. I love
because,
rogue.
They just like they're both just so
Mhm.
like, there's not a lot when it comes to combat, but they're just so fun as characters.
That's the
They
thing
are.
is, Rogue. I'm super burnt out on Rogue. I love Rogue. I think they're great, but I played, as Logan and Carson know, I played the same Rogue for like 2 years, and I have a different Rogue that I also play, and it's just like, they're great for utility, and great for like roles, like just like, we need someone to break into this place, we need someone to talk to someone about this thing, and if you build it right, it's like I can perceive everything, I can investigate everything, yada yada. But like, it's also, to me, I get very bored of like the combat side of it. Kind of like somebody just said, is it's like you hit,
Sneak
you have
attack.
sneak attack,
Sneak
or
attack.
you don't have sneak attack.
Sneak
You
attack.
attack once, and then you disengage, or you go do something else. Like, it's kind of boring. Which I don't know if this is a controversial statement, but I feel like that bards are like the better rogues because you get magic and expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can roll your eyes looking all you want. Don't boo, you know I'm right. That's the thing is, like, expertise. If you want a class that has expertise, bard just has more options, and this is also an opinion. It's just that I know the thing. I know what I'm about, and I like having a little bit of spell casting in there. I like the utility of spells. So if I have to choose between rogue and bard, always gonna choose bard.
I find their combat to be so boring, and it's just maybe it's me, but like I find their combat to be extremely boring. It's very CC heavy in their spells, which is fine. It's just not. I don't know. I played a bard for almost a year, and I didn't really. it wasn't my
Vicious
thing.
mockery. Vicious
Yeah.
mockery.
Yeah.
Dissonant
One thing I-
whispers.
One thing I will say, Swashbuckler and Rogue, one of
It's
just
a good
the
one.
most
It's a fun one.
insane. It's so
That's
good.
the bard that I've been playing for the past 2 years.
The rogue.
It's just like you always have sneak attack. You never
Yeah.
not have sneak attack, and I'm like,
That's true.
gosh, you
It's
do
like
insane
1v1 me,
damage.
bro.
It's
Basically.
so good.
It's so true.
1v1 me, I'll kill you.
I mean, I think the cool thing about rogues is specifically like cunning action gives you so much versatility in combat.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Like you've always got at least
A bonus
two
action.
things to do.
Yeah.
You've always got an action and a bonus action, which just like not a lot of other classes have stuff to do with bonus actions at all, or consistently with bonus actions.
Mhm.
So I can get like getting burnt out on playing it for a while, but I think rogues also depending on the combat, because if you have like terrain and environment to interact with, like things to hide behind, and all that good stuff, I think it makes it a lot more interesting and engaging.
And on that note, for all my Patreon people, my Twitch stream that I just did, Building Encounters, I talked a lot about the importance of environment and stuff. Environment's huge. It's a huge importance, like, feature of Encounters.
I will say Rogue is probably one of the best things to multi-class in or out of. Because as Travis knows from, I remember when you did your character for the first one-shot we did that Logan streamed, you did like a Rogue fighter multi-class. And having a Rogue that also has extra attack
And a fighting
Yeah.
style and stuff, yeah.
dirty.
It was very interesting.
Yeah.
It was. Oh yeah, that was the one that was crit fishing and crit like once or twice.
Rip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That stuff dirty. Remember, that's not to say that I don't like Rogue. I just prefer other things before Rogue. Rogue is very good.
That's fair. Love me some Rogue. We're at the 2.5 hour mark, so we'll probably want to start winding down sometime soon. But I want to get Xavier and Alan's thoughts before turning it over to Carson, because I know he has a full character idea ready to go. Somewhat.
You're a prepared man.
If he wants to even reveal it to anyone.
I'll give you a little taste.
He'll just speak,
Um,
he already has a character voice, so he'll speak in it for a couple
Figured.
minutes.
So I know Xavier, you're DMing some stuff right now, and I know for just me as the DM, you've played as a wide array of characters, or I played beside you as a wide array of characters. So what are you kind of looking forward to maybe trying out, or what's something that's interesting you, catching your eye?
Yeah, so my thing, whenever I make a character, I just like to play something I haven't played before.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always doing something a little different.
I
And
think-
I'm looking at like what I haven't played. I'm like, it's Barbarian, Bard, Paladin, and Ranger. Those are the ones I really haven't played. But I also have a cleric that I'm like, I could sink a little bit more time into. And I'm like, I don't know. But I just like to, I like to mix it up a little bit though. But whenever I make a character, I'm just like, I don't know. It's not. I do not prepare a lot
I
of
think
stuff for it.
you, me, and Carson have a very similar approach to character making, where it's like, what if this, but this?
Exactly. I keep the concept very simple.
Very simple.
And then just like expand upon it as I'm playing. And I'm just like, I don't know. Honestly, I'm gonna be just like driving on the road one day, and then it's just gonna hit me. And I'm
You're
like,
like, oh.
there we go. That's what I play.
That's how my stuff does too. It's literally like I'll be at work and I'm like, "Hey, Tommy, don't slap Cindy," and then I'm like,
What if?
D&D idea.
But I don't know. I spit out that idea about that one bard, even though we just chat on bards for like an hour. That College of Spirits thing. I was like, that was kind
Yeah,
of,
that was a good one. I like that.
I was like, that one was kind of a fun idea. I don't know if I'll fully go on it. But also, I've never played a barbarian, and I was like, it'd be kind of fun. But my thing is, I'm just like, I do like spells though, so I gotta find a barbarian that has like a little bit of niche to it. I don't want to just swing my axe, you know?
That's where I was at, because I was like, I want to be a barbarian, but I also have a wizard idea. It's like two polar opposites. Because the thing with barbarian is I have the same thing where I'm like, I like having a little bit of random utility, which is why I really like. I know Travis really loves the wild magic barbarian.
It's so good.
I really like the Path of the Beast barbarian that has like the mild like lycanthropy stuff.
Yeah.
I would just do some research because honestly, barbarian, a lot of fun.
Very flexible.
Yeah.
And
I could probably do that.
I have in my Curse of Strahd campaign that I GM for people up here, Cody Chester, he plays an ancestral guardian barbarian, which is it's been very interesting to just roleplay as an entity in Barovia. But it has proven very useful in many combat situations because it is such an area control, like, whoever you're attacking, if they attack anyone else, they're going to be bad at it. And it's very nice. But Xavier, what you said about, like, you like having spells, but you kind of want to do something martial, my immediate go-to answer is play a monk or play a battle master fighter. Because those two, monk anything but battle master fighter, it's martial, but with some extra flavor. Like, you can do specific things with it. And so, like, that's usually my go-to. Like, if I want to do something but want the spell casting utility stuff, I go with one of those two classes.
I used to be like very anti-monk. I was like, I don't think it's very fun.
No, it's so much fun.
I played monk, but I never learned how to balance using your key. Because I'd go in combat, I'm like, all right,
key,
superior blow, key, and I'm like, oh wait, there's another combat right after.
Short rest, please.
Yeah.
Take a short rest.
I'm
Get
dead.
those 2 points back.
Please, may I have a short rest?
But I learned that.
Where it's like my warlock spells are gone. Please, can we have a short rest?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I learned with monk that there's a certain, like, just a feeling of power that comes with, like, do I want to attack 1 time this round or 3 times? And there's just like
Or now 5 times.
Yeah, or 5. Haste me. Like, it's just, there's a certain, like, adrenaline that comes with monk that you're just like, I can either be normal this round or I can go all in and
or I can go sicko mode.
Yeah.
My thing that I just love is just like landing that stunning strike.
Ooh,
it's just like
game changing.
Like, I've stunned you and you'll be dead by the next round. Like, you're already dead.
And
we had a Curse of Strahd session where I won't say who we were fighting, but I was the first one in initiative, and I stunning strike and I stunned him, and literally everybody got to attack. He didn't get to do anything, and he was dead by the next turnaround.
Yup.
Fully decapitated.
If you just keep up with Critical Role for certain combats that they have, like, and I think it's pretty well known that, like, monk, anything that forces a saving throw, they're gonna succeed on the saving throw like 60% of the time. Like, your DC is not that high. But for a stunning strike, that one time your stunning strike lands, game over. That combat is forfeit, the big bad's done. Like,
I already regret the fact that you guys in my campaign are 5th level, because I know Cohen's gonna stunning strike.
I'm gonna fuck you up. And you already gave me that 15-foot reach. I'm gonna... Ooh, it's coming.
Strike from a mile away.
Exactly. So Xavier, if you had to pick one class to, like, if I said, give me your character ideas right now, what would be the one class you'd be like, that one?
Oh God.
Right now, Xavier, right now, no hesitation. What is it?
Right now.
Give it to me.
I don't know. You know what? I'll do a sorcerer. His name is V.
No, that's a cop out. Give me a real answer. Give me a real answer.
Did that. You can't turn in an old assignment as a new one.
You don't know. You weren't my professor last year.
I played with you. I know your secrets.
I don't know. I'll do the bard.
A bard?
I feel like I could mess up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you'd fuck up a lot of shit as a bard. You do so even when you're not playing a charisma character. You fuck up some shit.
I very much like to just be like, I don't know. I feel like when people are DMing, they're like, all right, here are the enemies in front of you. But I'm like, well, what's in the room? What else is going on here that I could just ruin completely? And I feel like I could do that with bard a lot.
Yeah, and even as a sorcerer, you did that a lot.
It's like, how can I make Logan's day sad?
I love that shit.
Like in that last combat we had with the bottles, I was like, what if I break the bottle?
And that's why, like, I wanted to make the case of like held items, but I wanted to give it to everyone and be like, what do you think about that? Like, let's talk about it.
I think that was too funny to say no to.
Yeah.
Because these motherfuckers are like about to firebomb something, like ha ha ha.
And then I'm gonna turn it back on you in some way, shape, or form. We'll figure out how.
And that's the thing is like, there's gonna be a point where like I'm gonna do something dumb like that, and you're gonna be like, they do this, and I'm like, well, I can't argue with that.
Yep. You Varian's dying on the ground. You go to give him a healing potion, and but shatters all your
I'll
healing
be
potions.
like, damn, I guess I'll healing word instead. And then you go counter spell.
And then you're like, oh shit. Well.
And I'll be like, well, I'm
Swallowing
done.
the glass shard.
You win.
Yep. Yeah, you go to give Barry the potion, the glass shatters, he swallows a bunch of glass, he's double dead. So Xavier
Healing
Bart.
house.
Healing house, please. So Alan,
Hey.
you are an enigma. I think you know that you're an enigma in this group. As if people who watch this VOD are unaware, I don't think I saved the VOD, so it's lost to Twitch Oblivion. But Wendelin was made on a whim. We had a fun little stream where I put forth a couple pieces of artwork, and we created a variety of D&D characters based on the artwork. One of those was a elderly retired goblin performer and actor who was now managing like an improv troupe or something like that.
I remember that creation stream because I was like, oh, that man should be a bard.
Yes, absolutely. And we made all these characters, and then when Alan was invited, I think I gave you the option of like, do you want to make a character? Or, like, we made all these characters previously. Do you want to use one of those? And you were like, let me see them. And I sent you all of them, and you really liked Wendelin. And then now with Killian is very much tied into the world and what's happening, so it's hard to avoid that kind of character. But you had this lifeguard character, you had Roman Maduni, this exiled Medina, this dragon-marked exile. Your character ideas are just so out of this world that I'm afraid to ask you what kind of character you want to pursue next, mostly because I feel like you're gonna make the character 30 minutes before our first session. So I caution to ask, but I will go ahead and ask Alan, what kind of character concept are you wanting to pursue for a long-term campaign in the future? Everyone cover your ears, back away from your screens, cover your eyes.
Oh, I don't know. I've had 2 ideas.
You've had 2 ideas? That's double the normal amount of ideas.
Or I could go the multi class.
Imagine, like, you start out as a level 1 character, you're like, yep, I'm gonna play a human fighter. And we're all like, okay, that's very normal. And they're like, alright, you're level 2 now. And you're like, alright, I'm gonna be a paladin. And we're like, okay, cool, level 3, I'm gonna be a druid. Hold on, what? Level 4, barbarian. And it just gets worse and worse.
I'm playing the college dropout.
It's just like a 13 in every stat, just enough to multi-class.
You are just barely above everyone else in everything for a little while, and that's it. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess I've realized I've been on a streak of using non-magic characters and trying to see how far I can push their limits.
True.
And I feel like the ultimate version of that would be to play a fighter and try and like do things outside the box with. I don't know too much about fighter. I've only played fighter like once.
Because there's there's this stuff that's like tried and true, like champion and like battle master. But like now there's new stuff like the Psy Warrior from Tasha's, which is like kind of like a Jedi where you can just like push people and like do shit with like your mind.
Oh my
And
god.
which is a very good substitution for magic. Like you still have that utility of like I can push somebody or knock somebody down or like protect myself.
Yeah.
Or and like Eldritch Knight, which is like the fighter with like light to wizard.
Yeah. Has that been effective? Like, is Eldritch Knight effective? I don't know.
Yeah.
Eldritch Knight is very good if you use it. Like the thing is, Eldritch Knight is very good if used like the right way, I guess. And I don't know about like optimizing and things like that, but like from what I've read, it's very fun to use because eventually they get like a feature that like you can cast a cantrip and still make a attack.
Bonus action attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to see somebody play an Eldritch...
It has more survivability.
It's
I
tough,
feel like
right?
Blade
It's a little bit
Singer,
more
from
dense.
from what I've seen of Blade Singer, it feels like when people use Blade Singer, they're just like, I'm a wizard. I don't really Blade Sing that often. Like,
Which I think Blade Singer. This is a tangent. We're not even talking about fighter anymore. But Blade Singer has a lot of a lot of multi-class potential. Like I've been thinking about doing like a multi-class with like a College of Swords Bard with Blade Singer. And I think that the fact that you get like a plus to AC that's like your plus your intelligence or proficiency bonus,
Yeah.
like that is very good. But I've not seen Blade Singer used super well. I don't
no.
think I've ever seen a Blade Singer wizard like in action.
What was your
Yeah,
other
I
idea,
was-
Alan?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Alan.
Oh yeah. And I was also gonna say, I think Blade Singer is one of the classes, one of the things I was thinking about for Killian, but I was just kind of like too wary of like how I could use that properly. Like, could I use the Blade Singer enough, or would it just be a wizard that happens to be pretty handy with a sword? You know. Yeah. My other idea, like, I could try and do some spellcasters again. I really liked, I don't even remember the guy's name. The dude from, I had in Adventurers Guild, 2.0.
Your Earthbender,
Harlan?
Oh, Harlan.
Yeah.
Harlan.
I think that'd be really cool to like have a spellcaster with a theme again, you
Mhm.
know? Something that like, just cause I don't like the, you know, like min-maxing characters. I think it's way cooler to like, especially making spellcasters, if you set some kind of rule beforehand, like, you know, some cardinal things. And I
Making
remember
your
like when I
character
was,
bad at something. Fun.
right, yeah. And like for Harlan, it was just a simple thing of like, oh, he, you know, he
His wisdom
does
was
earth
bad.
stuff.
He had no common sense.
Right.
Well, and that's the kind of thing when with my wizard idea, I was thinking about just like not having like social grace or like charisma to be like not caring enough about the social grace to be nice to people. Because it's just like the kind of thing where it's like, I'm smart and I know I'm smart, so I really don't feel like having to like be nice about certain things.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I think that just building characters that are bad at something is just, there's so much more roleplay potential beyond like min-maxing. It's fun like to be like, oh, I have a bard that's super charismatic and great at talking to people, but his wisdom is -2, and he has no idea about like when he has gone too far with making a joke.
Right. Yeah. And it forces you to like really step into the person's shoes. And also like when you're facing situations, like having to find another way to navigate around that as well.
And navigating it in character and not like as yourself. Like
Right.
what would a person with a high intelligence but a low wisdom do in this situation? Or what would someone with a low charisma do in this kind of situation? And also knowing that like doing some of those things may not be the most beneficial or the most optimized choice. Because sometimes there's moments in D&D where you're like, I'm gonna do this thing in character, and everyone's like, this is gonna really fuck some shit up, and you're like, I don't know another way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, being fully optimized is something I've never cared about. I'm just like, I want to play a fun character. I'm like, as long as I can role play my character and have fun with it, I'm like, that's what I care about. Being like, I'm gonna be the best wizard known to man. I'm like, I don't care about that, dude.
And that's like one of those.
Your character's gonna get to level 8 at most, and then
You're done. It's again the story.
Like,
Yeah.
gonna be level 20. Who cares?
Right.
And that's something like.
Spells.
That's something I talked with like especially my Shadows over Drift Chapel people, because it's only 3 of them and it's much easier to have that kind of conversation. Is like, if you roll for stats or if you want to play a weird class, race, background combination or whatever it is, we can work out details to make it work for you and like your character concept. Like don't worry about like, oh man, I want to play this, but this race doesn't lend itself to this class. We're like, no, fuck it, we'll make it work. Like, that's cool. And yeah, and especially now that like we're going to a new campaign, we've been playing together for a year now. Like, we'll absolutely start making those kind of changes and stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
I feel like there's something to be said for making a character that's like, you want to roll good. Like, that's the thing in D&D. It's very discouraging if you're like, oh, I'm bad at things, so I don't ever roll good. Like, you want to be good at something, but it's also very funny and very entertaining, like, game-wise, for you to be, like, super bad at something. Because, like, we kind of alluded to it earlier, like, with Varian, how it's like, you're not, like, a -5 charisma or something.
No,
but,
I
like,
have a +1 to charisma.
But the fact that Varian has, like, is anxious, people like that, like, is something that like is a part of the role play.
Yeah, I have ridiculous stats. The only thing I'm bad at is strength, really. I'm very bad at it, but that doesn't come up that often. So I'm just like, how do I make this not like a Mary Sue uninteresting character? It's just like, well, if the detriments and the flaws aren't on the stat block, they're gonna be in the roleplay.
Yep.
And I feel like that's something a good D&D player does, is like, even if this is not like a stat reflected thing, like, make yourself bad at stuff. Even if it's not a stat. Like, play something badly on purpose. Just because, like, that's the essence of like what role playing and acting is you're like, I'm gonna be vulnerable in this moment and do something kind of dumb. And that's more fun.
So now, same thing, same treatment I just gave Xavier a few minutes ago. Alan, if I said, hey, pick a new character class right now, what would it be?
Right now?
Right now, pick it. Alan, what character are you going to play for the next campaign? Right now. Yep, no, right now. Nope, just class. Like, character concept. Spellcaster, fighter. Fighter, okay.
There we go. Well done.
Minotaur fighter.
Oh, God! Ooh!
I love Minotaurs, just flavor-wise.
Absolutely.
Is like just
big beefy boys.
Ooh, what about like a minotaur, but he's like a were thing, but he changes from a minotaur to something else, you know?
Are you talking about like a were cow? A were bull?
You could look into the
No, but
barbarian
he's
or
like,
the
he
bar.
starts minotaur and then he turns into like, I don't know, some fucking gnome or some shit.
Oh my gosh.
He's a no minotaur? Oh,
A
Alan.
Minotaur gnome. A Minotaur gnome.
You were a curse. You were a blight upon us, Alan Jang.
It's like full moon and he starts
Yeah,
shrinking and,
Nomitar.
you know, ingrown herring.
As you do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I will now open the floor to Carson to hit us with his, if he wants to, with his amazing character
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah, I won't give too many specifics because I think both for my fellow players and for any of you watching this later on who will be viewers of our campaign, I don't want to give too much away. But basically, this character idea I had would be a ranger, and could be a hunter, I suppose, but would probably be most comfortable living in Gloomstalker territory. Yeah, that's why I said we needed to talk. Yeah, but basically, I had this idea of just like gruff, but with a heart of gold. Like somebody who is outwardly like very fucking scary looking and like intimidating and almost like monstrous in a way, but and has had like a really shitty fucking hard life, but has not let that turn them into a bad person or like even really a mean person. And yeah, somebody who would probably start out kind of hesitant around other people, just based on like prior treatment, but leaving room for them to warm to the party and form like kind of lasting and very strong bonds of loyalty and like found family, which I think this idea is kind of very much against type of what I've played before. I mean, they definitely would not be like the face of the party. They'd be a little more soft-spoken and probably you know, as a ranger, more perceptive and insightful, just based on the necessities of kind of ranging in the like very much harsh and deadly frozen wastes of Icewind Dale. And as a result of kind of just like not necessarily forming social graces and just being kind of this intimidating looking person, would not be charismatic very much. But yeah, ultimately somebody who has had a hard time of it, but that has not warped them into a hard person.
I like it. And just observations, I think of like the characters that I've played with Carson, Varian, Arthur, Matthias. Like, I feel like this character is almost like older, and so it's kind of that like I've not been influenced by my past, whereas I feel as though Arthur and Varian are both like, I'm just beginning my future in my life. We'll see how it shapes me. Whereas
talking about this earlier is that like we were talking about how like a good way to make characters is like how did the trauma in their lives influence them as a character?
Yeah, or sort of a post and pre-trauma kind of thing.
Unfortunately, I feel like trauma is a very good starting point for how a character develops.
No, that has been a kind of or a more recent thing I've been working on with every character, because it's like My Chris Lestrade character that I'm playing right now is somebody who let trauma destroy her and turn her into just kind of a monstrous force in the world. Somebody who cruelly moves through the world enacting her will with violence. And then my character in AG, Matthias, was somebody who dealt with a lot of trauma, but eventually over years and decades processed it and worked through it and became a better person because of it, and went on to dedicate his life to helping others and trying to make sure nobody suffered the same way he did. And then in Jacob's campaign, I'm playing a character whose trauma sent them into the depths of addiction and to cope. In this Icewind Dale campaign, I'm thinking of a character whose trauma has left them with deep scars, but has not hardened them to the world. Yeah.
Spoilers.
No one's watching, like 3 people.
It's us.
It's all us.
It's all us. That's fine. We need a platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a platform. Yeah.
But yes, I love it, and I mean that idea of trauma is baked into fiction. Period. Done. Just because one of the first things I learned in my creative writing degree was that stories are not written about the straight lines of people's lives. They're written about whenever people's lives take a turn. And so, like, it's, you know, that idea of trauma and change in someone's life, drama, that's all stories are. It's just when things go weird and go wrong.
And that's kind of the thing that what makes an interesting character is not necessarily like who they were meant to be, but how they adapt to things that happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's like that's like the basis of storytelling is like the interesting part of the story is when, like you said, when something happens that diverts them from their life path. Not like, what if Joe got married at 25 and lived a very happy life farming turnips?
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to read about that.
Nah. And even if you found a way to work that into an adventure, like that's not sustainable for a D&D or tabletop RPG story. Like that, there's no way you could go through 10 levels of normalcy.
That's kind of the hard part about building characters is I feel like the tendency is that you want to... A lot of people want to write like 10 pages about things that have already happened to their character before they hit like level 1 or something. And what I've kind of started doing is I want to make sure it's like an appropriate level of things that have happened to them. Because if we're level 1, I don't need to write this like grand thing of all this stuff that has happened to lead them up to this point. Because not that much has happened to them at that point.
You have skills and proficiencies, and that's about it. Like, you don't...
I think that's also, as far as like streaming D&D, I think it's also more fun for the audience to see us develop as characters instead of saying that this development has already happened.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like kind of like what Travis is doing right now with Oleg is very like interesting because Travis has been like, oh yeah, Oleg's like reevaluating things about the way he views the world. And that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because it would be far less interesting to be like, yeah, Oleg already had this thought out of game. So like this
Now
is
it's
how
done.
he is now, and it already happened, and you guys didn't get to be a part of that or see any of it.
I will say I very much agree with what Jacob said, and I've said it for a long while, that like on the whole, if you're starting from level 1, like you're not the legendary hero of Gal Gador or whatever, or like you're some dude with a sword.
Yeah.
Although I have had an idea for a while now, because I was thinking like, what justification would you have for having like this very storied past as and being like so low level technically in your abilities? And I was just like, what if something just really bad happened to you? Like you got near mortally wounded, and you were like the greatest fighter in the world, but now you can barely lift a sword, or like you were cursed by a god, and or like who like it ripped away your magical capabilities, and where you were once able to bend reality to your will, you can barely cast a cantrip now.
That's an idea I had for a warlock forever ago. That it's based off of an anime I really like. It's like, what if you were literally like one of like the lords of the abyss, and something happened to you, and you were weakened by this god to a point that you had to retain like a mortal form, and you're literally now just like a level 1 warlock.
That'd be a good secret. Is like you're secretly a god wearing a skin suit of a mortal.
Yeah, it's like, you would literally just be like, I am literally the fucking Lord Balthazar.
But I can't tell anyone.
And now I have to work in this fucking inn because I've lost all my power. But one day I will regain it and regain my seat.
So it's a reverse isekai?
Yeah, no, literally, if you ever watched The Devil as a Part-Timer, that's what
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
you were talking about.
the best
That was
reverse
kind of my
isekai.
it was like my necromancer idea, where it's just like he was an all-powerful necromancer, but like of course, like at some point, a party of heroes came to attack them, and he messed up the clone spell, and he made a clone of himself that's just like
A lesser version.
a lesser version that's like weaker and like, but as also since he looks younger, no one knows it is him, and so he has to hide the fact that he's caused all these atrocities, or he's just gonna get executed.
Like,
on the
thank
spot.
God that necromancer's dead. He killed my parents, and you're like, oh, I remember them. They were the
Yeah, you're like, oh.
I had
Yikes.
a very similar idea. It was like, what if like a high-level necromancer or something did that cloning spell and like made a bunch of like extra copies of himself just in case he died, and they
You're one of them.
somehow gained sentience and like escaped, or like were found, like a baby was like found by this like poor couple and was just raised as like a normal kid, and you're just a normal kid that's raised with some strange magical power that you have no idea where it came from, and you later find out that like this fucking lich created you to be like a extra
A
body
vessel.
in case he died. Yeah,
I love that. I love it so much.
which I still might use that concept at some point. But like that's such a cool concept to be like, I didn't like I was created by means that are beyond my understanding. And
Aren't
like,
we all?
just like the existential dread of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that idea for you, Carson. I like that. It's gonna be a fun character.
Right?
Yeah, but I
Different
will say,
change. It changed of pace. Absolutely.
Yeah, most of the characters I've played have been relatively young, just because I've kind of been daunted by the idea of like, I mean, particularly with like elves. It's just like, how do you make a character that's like 800 years old? Oh, like, how do you account for one, them like being level 1, and two, just like, what is it like to experience time like that?
Absolutely.
It's like, how in that time, what have you done? What have you experienced that has made you this person? And like being in real life, a human in his mid-20s, it's just like it's really hard to conceive of that in a way of like, how the hell would I RP this? But like that stuff we talked about could be a really cool idea. It's just like, yeah, you were like the fabled high elven hero of like the ancient like forest kingdom of the Fae, but it's like, I don't know, like you had your powers taken from you, or you like have just reached such an old age as an elf that you are no longer like the fighter you once were, and have to like work to build it back up. But yeah, I think playing older characters is a very interesting kind of puzzle to figure out how you want to roleplay.
And vice versa, like I know Xavier, you're playing a kobold, which live a notoriously short life, and playing a character that maybe only lives like 20 years, and you're like, yeah, I've been alive for 3 years, I'm an adult. Like, that's also a very weird dynamic to have. And I think even the same, and I know, Alan, we briefly talked about it, but like, Eric Okra also notoriously lived like a very short lifespan. And so that's just a strange dynamic to maybe try and play on.
For a reference that like maybe only Logan will understand, like the Asari in Mass Effect lived literally like thousands of years. And they're always like, "Oh, you silly humans living barely to be 100."
Yeah, that's nothing.
Like, imagine living 1,000 years at the minimum.
My favorite comparison I think that people have made is like the comparison to like a normal person and their dog or their cat. Is like they only live a fraction of your normal life, and you'll have 3 or 4 pets during your life, but you also remember them very fondly, but to certain degrees. And that's my favorite comparison is like an elf looks at their human best friend like a pet, and that you might have 3 or 4 human best friends over the course of your life. That doesn't mean they're not important. You just have a couple.
I saw some very good Fantasy High fan art on Twitter that was just like a progression of images of like all the bad kids together, but each one is like them older and older, and as they start going on, people start dropping out as like they would reach the natural end of their lifespan until it's only Adine as the high elf, and I'm just like, oh fuck.
It's weird. It's such a strange thing to think about.
That's there. To make a more like anime comparison, there's like a character in One Piece that's already died, so he's essentially immortal until like something happens to him, and everybody always like will make fan art of like all the Straw Hats dying besides Brook, who's already a skeleton, and it's just like, man, his life is gonna suck, because literally he's already died, so he's essentially immortal. So he's just gonna have to sit there and watch all of his friends die. Which, if you really think about it, immortality is a curse.
And to
understand why elves keep to themselves a lot in fiction.
It's way more.
There's like a very famous book series that has like brothers that have like drank from the fountain of youth that are essentially immortal, and I don't remember what it's. I remember reading it in like high school or middle school. But it talks a lot about that, how it's like being immortal sucks, because if you love somebody, they're gonna die, and you're not gonna die, so like, what's the point?
Opinions on that.
Yeah.
I have a lot of opinions.
Being alive is a curse.
But yes, it's just that's an interesting thing to think. I don't even know anymore. So Alan's gonna play a fighter. That's where we landed on that.
Cool. It only took like 30 minutes to get from that point to this point.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna interject with is like that's one of the secrets for Rime of the Frostmaiden is that you're a reincarnated person. And so that you are not, you're not a human fighter. You're a reincarnated goblin who is now a human fighter and are living their life as this and trying to figure out, rekindle their past life.
Character from when we played in Snow
Yeah, he died and became a new person. That was a whole thing. That was a really deep cut. Horrible. Yes. So I think that we are at 3 hours 7. Actually, give it 2.
Like
1. 3 hours and 8 minutes for this stream. Exactly. Happy New Year. So any final thoughts from any of you about new characters, the Shar Knights stuff that we're doing, or if you have any ideas about what you want to, a new tabletop RPG you want to play? Because something I want to really throw on you guys is maybe if you guys want to GM a new tabletop RPG or a D&D session, for our little break before the new campaign.
I want to go on record and say that I'd love to do a superhero-based session with the Savage Worlds rules.
Interesting.
I would love to GM something like that. I would love to be the dungeon master in some one shot we do.
I know
And
people
I know
have.
there is a mutants and masterminds. There is like a rule book. There is like a system of that, and we might use that. We might just use savage rules. It doesn't matter. But I'd love to GM something like that.
And I know people have mentioned doing Call of Cthulhu because they've done Call of Cthulhu adjacent things, but never actually like true Call of Cthulhu. And I love some cock.
Hell yeah, brother.
I love me some Call of Cthulhu, and I'd be down to play that. I've also wanted to do I need to look at the actual name of it. I have a bunch of like tabs saved on my phone of all the different tabletop RPGs I want to play. Little Nightmares, I think is what it's called.
Is that based off of the
That's a game.
Isn't that a video game?
Yeah, Logan, that's a video game.
No, hold
No,
on.
Logan, that's a video game.
Little Fears, excuse me, Little Fears, and
Yeah.
it's Call of Cthulhu, but you play as children, and all the adults can't see all the horrible things that are happening, and so
That
it,
seems like,
yeah.
Little Nightmares, but like the Irate Orchard version of.
That
Little
sounds
Nightmares.
so R.L. Stein.
The House of
Well,
Little
it's like Kids with
Fears.
Bikes. Have you guys ever heard?
It's,
Kids
yeah,
with
it's like Kids with Bikes.
I'd love to try out Kids on Bikes. I'd love to try that out too.
There's also all sorts of like Wild West systems I want to try. There's one that's in Kickstarter right now called Diesel, where it's essentially cyberpunk, but it's Old West.
The bad guy and Thomas the Tank Engine
Mm.
and friends.
I heard of there's a really good fan movie about that.
About Diesel?
No, about Thomas the Tank Engine. We won't get into it.
No, we will not. So yeah, there's that one. There's one called Mork Borg that's only available in Europe that I really want to try. There's like 10 candles that I want to try. There's a bunch.
Mecha Hack on Wednesday.
We're gonna do some Mecha Hack. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
One shot on Wednesday the 28th.
Do it.
If we really super enjoy it, we can maybe try it as a one shot for us during our downtime. There's the Dragon Age system. There's Vampire the Masquerade I would want to try. Because Vampire the Masquerade is its whole own entity. There's so many. So many.
So many tabletops. We have the rest of our lives until we die to try them. Because we're gonna keep streaming until we die. Because we live for the content.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Travis is gonna die before us because he's older.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, Travis, you're the elf of this group. How does that make you feel?
As long as I outlive you, I don't care.
Yeah, you're older, you'll live a little bit longer, I guess. No, I guess we'll live longer, so, I think I might be the youngest, because I'm an April birthday. Or no, Xavier, you're younger than me, right? I'm an April birthday.
I'm
November.
96?
November 96.
Oh, shit. I was thinking you were November 97. I was like, I'm older than you. Nope, nope.
I'm
Yeah, you
February
fucking-
97.
97.
You're when, November?
February 97.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So you're older than me.
Stop doxing yourselves.
Shit, I'm the elf of this group. I'm gonna live the longest.
I doubt that.
Are you?
Fuck! Yeah, I'm April
Congratulations.
I'm April 97. I guess I'm older than everyone.
Yeah, because
Or I will live longer than everyone.
people live the same exact set amount of time.
Yeah, obviously.
We all get 75 years. It's canon.
Do you want like a card or something?
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
Why do
Are we
people
ending the
watch
stream anytime soon?
Yes,
Yeah,
right
can I go to
now
bed?
we are. Shut the fuck up, you guys. So yes, I think that's it for us. Unless there are any more burning questions or comments that people have, I assume not.
Logan.
Of course, Jacob has some burning comment to make. Huh?
When will Ithranel give herself up so we can be done?
It depends if she successfully kills you all in the next session.
God,
Uh-huh.
God, I hope so.
I loved it. Was just in my headphones. I said that, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay."
Thank God.
Next time we see her, we gotta say, the jig is up.
We'll see how this next session goes. I have a lot planned. It's gonna get very intense for an
I
amount
thought you
of
said
time.
you didn't
Yeah.
plan.
This time I do. Because
Yeah, she's gonna run over to my charred corpse, and I'm gonna be like, call an ambulance, but not for me. I'm gonna pull out a gun and shoot her.
Oleg gave me this gun. Checkmate, bitch.
Yeah.
I think it was something Richard said earlier, how sometimes like social encounters can be more intense than combat encounters. That kind of thing is absolutely going to happen because this is a full-fledged plan that is in effect, and this is going to be a moment where, or several moments where, depending on what you do, how you act, the roles you make might influence how the plan goes. And so it's going to get very intense this next session. So I've been thinking about it a lot. Might be bad.
Great. Can't you
Yeah.
just think this is gonna end?
Oleg is sitting over on the bench waiting to see what happens, and he looks over to Mind Flayer sitting next to him like, so have you made a decision?
Oh god, that happens, I'll be real sad.
Spike looks down at his arm and it's like, hey, we gotta go, and his arm detaches and runs away. It's not gonna happen, I promise.
Like runs away like thing from Adam's Family, just like
Yeah, just like you see a hand running across the yard of Wargrave University.
Fucking dude.
It starts Eldritch blasting out on there on its own.
Yeah, if
That's
I
where you
lose my
care.
hand, do I lose all my warlock
Cast on
levels?
We'll find out, Xavier. We'll find out.
God.
Oh man, there's no real sign off. We're just doing a fun little thing where we sit and chat. We'll post
If
it.
you guys want to vote, if you go on Logan's Patreon right now, you can vote what Alan will play in the next campaign. He will literally play whatever you tell him to.
That's not true.
He will literally play a sentient locker at the YMCA if you pay him enough money.
Everything
That
you
is-
said is lies.
Probably
That's
something
doable.
that he would actually play, so I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Literally, it doesn't matter what I had said there. You guys would have been like, "Oh yeah, that sounds feasible."
yeah.
If it sounded weird. I think that if you
Yeah,
just
I could
said
try
he'll
it.
play a human fighter who likes to grapple people nonstop, I think I'd be like, nah. That's
He's gonna
not
play
him.
a human fighter that every time he grapples someone, he tickles the back of their head a little bit to
that'd
remind
be-
them of their childhood.
It'll be so crazy. We all have these high expectations for Alan's characters. What if he does just play a regular human fighter,
Yeah.
and we're just, but like, he's just like, I'm a normal guy. We're like, no, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
There has to be something wrong with you.
We're gonna find you.
You're treading a thin line,
Hey
bucko.
guys, my character's name is John. He's from Milwaukee.
And I imagine like the first
I think
campfire.
it's-
The first campfire conversation, you're all sitting there and you're just like, so, what kind of trauma you got? You're like,
Yeah.
nothing. They're
Yeah,
like,
I'm just
hmm.
like, yeah, one day I just decided I was gonna leave home, and I think I was gonna go out for adventures for the sake of adventuring. I think I thought it
Yeah,
was fun.
just a big smile on his face. He's just like, nothing bad has ever happened to me.
Give it time.
Just a half-hour conversation about different primers for your fences or whatever. Just boring ass.
You're like, yeah, I grew up in the suburbs of Greensboro, North Carolina.
The
I-
worst thing that ever happened to me was UNCG.
Oh wow.
Like, there was a race riot at my high school once. That's about it. That's it.
I've seen exactly. Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah,
So
sometimes I go to my high school's parking lot every now and again. You know.
we used to hang out at the Sheets every once in a while.
Yeah.
The sheets.
Xavier, I ended up finally getting to the port town. I spent like an hour trying to kill
Stop
the
talking about here. You
a
fuck.
shade, the
What do you-
gigantic
Yeah.
shade.
What are you
Yeah,
talking
I
about?
failed.
What?
I
You
couldn't-
You're
failed?
talking about
Yeah.
fucking near
Did you
replicant. They're
kill him?
spoiling
Did you
near
kill the
replicant.
gigantic?
All of our
Did you
dear
kill the
viewers.
gigantic fade? Shade?
All right. Well, Rachel ordered Chinese food many hours ago, and I'm gonna go gorge myself on
Wait,
some
what kind
Chinese
of
food.
what did you get? What's your go-to order at the Chinese restaurant?
It's normally General Tso's, but I think I got sweet and sour this time because for some reason
Okay,
this
this
Chinese
is an important question for everyone. Go ahead.
Chinese restaurant didn't have General Tso's.
What the fuck? Okay,
Weird.
this is an important question for everyone.
This will be our
what's your
sign off.
Go-to order at a shitty Chinese restaurant.
Shitty
Alex,
Chinese restaurant?
Or just a Chinese restaurant.
Whoa, why do I gotta go first?
Fuck, dude.
Because Because
What
I'm looking
the
at the
fuck?
order on the screen, and Logan already
I know,
said,
I'm just
and I'm
kidding.
going to you, Alan.
Yeah, we'll end with our top build players for we'll end with them.
Alan, I want you to know, I don't see race.
Jacob?
Oh,
Jacob, let me remove Jacob from the call real quick.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob
What
will not
happened
be
is
in the
you
next
can't
campaign.
lose
We've
you
already
without also
decided.
losing Carson,
I'm willing to take the hit. Pull the plug.
All right. Alan, what's your go-to order at a Chinese restaurant?
I don't know, probably like sesame chicken.
That's a good one. That's a classic.
I love
What
it.
are what about like coconut shrimp? What's your opinion on like coconut shrimp
At a Chinese
or coconut
restaurant?
chicken? Yeah, I'm always hesitant.
If there's a deal.
That makes sense. All right, Travis, what's your go-to order at a Chinese restaurant?
My go-to order at a Chinese restaurant, honestly, it depends on on their list.
So it's just kind of whatever's on special, whatever they got unique.
Yeah. I
That
really
makes
like their combos. It
Like the
depends on
family
day.
combos where it's like a shitload of stuff.
Yeah, like
variety
the
packs.
Chinese restaurant near me has egg rolls and fried rice and the meat of choice.
So you're
So
more
I've
of
been-
a poo-poo platter kind of guy?
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember near when I was younger, near my mom's shop was like this Walmart, and like on the side of the Walmart were a bunch
Mhm.
of like little shops. There was a Wang's Kitchen, and man, that guy, probably named Wang, he made amazing fried chicken wings.
Dude, I know somebody named Juan. Hey, do you know how to make some good chicken wings, Xavier?
Dude, you just
What is
You
happening?
just doxed me. What the fuck?
What did I just miss? Well, I got a comment.
I have to go.
Yeah.
To go. I'm in Secret Service. I have to go.
What just happened? I don't know what just happened. But Alan, yeah, I got a comment like I've noticed that's an interesting trend at Chinese restaurants is that they always have like chicken wings and stuff on their menu, and most people are like, no thanks, I don't want to get chicken wings at a
They're
Chinese restaurant because
amazing.
because people are like, I can get chicken wings anywhere, but no, it's way different.
It's so good. Yeah, get that and like a better rice. And boom.
You're golden. I'm not sure what happened with Xavier just now, but I'll go and let Jacob and Carson back in the call. Okay, sweet, they're muted. Never mind, they're back.
Rude.
Yeah, it was well earned, and now we're on to Xavier's preferred Chinese restaurant order.
What did Alan say?
Don't worry about it.
You gotta watch
No,
the
I wanna
VOD.
know. It's very
Go watch
interesting.
the VOD. Yeah, go watch the VOD.
You
Watch
should
the
have been
VOD.
here, Todd.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
had
if
no
you-
choice.
Maybe if you weren't late, Todd. God. No. I like shrimp fried
I
rice.
was the first one here.
Likely story.
Yeah, so Xavier, tell me more about your Chinese food order. As you are our top build player. You're at the top of the
The
marquee.
celebrity.
I like
Literally,
shrimp fried rice.
Just the rice?
Shrimp fried
Yo,
rice.
you're telling me a shrimp fried
That
this
rice
rice?
is good.
Shrimp fried rice. Shrimp fried rice. It's really good. I like it. I've been pescatarian for like a year now, so I'm just like I haven't had like any meat or anything like that. So I'm just like
I just
when I go
wanted
to a
to-
Chinese restaurant, I'm like shrimp fried rice. Yeah, that's what I can get.
I
So
did
it's
not
just,
know
like-
that. I did not know that, but I deeply
I knew
respect that
that.
because I've thought about doing the same thing. I might have to ask you
Honestly,
some.
Being a pescatarian, I don't feel like is tremendously like would not be like not
No.
be that detrimental. I feel
What
like
are you
that'd be,
talking about?
it'd be
You're
an
wrong.
adjustment, but I don't think it'd be hard. It would be like
All
super
right,
hard.
Travis. Not all of us can do a steak of the month club.
Yeah, Travis, you
Listen.
fucko.
I just did it because I'm trying to lose weight. Yeah, and I mean,
Oh,
like,
jeez.
I'm not doing it for like any save the planet. Fuck the planet. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow! Wow!
I care about myself, my image. All right, it's all vanity here.
Yeah,
all
okay,
right?
Juan.
Doing it
He's
because
doing
I
it
hate
for
this planet.
Twitch.tv Xylo plays.
Xylo Plays hates the environment. Go follow.
Hell yeah.
Everybody post it.
Hate
Cancel
the
Xylo.
environment. Love my own reflection, though. So there we go.
I mean, to be honest,
That's
Xavier
concept,
do
baby.
be looking good though.
You be looking good.
Are
Always.
we ending the streaming
Do
anytime
be
soon?
killing it.
Yeah, can I go to the bathroom?
Oh my god, you guys. Yes, we'll end. So there's no real good sign off because we're just doing a YouTube live thing for
Wait,
my
no,
page.
I need to know what Carson and Travis like.
Oh, that's right. Carson didn't get to answer because Jacob said something terrible.
Yes.
So,
Okay, whatever.
we all agreed. Carson even agreed. He was like, "Yeah, that was fair."
Yeah.
So I will give Carson the benefit. Nope. And Carson, what is your favorite Chinese food? Like, what's your go-to order?
I'd say go-to order is probably beef or chicken fried rice. But I mean, General Tso's is good. Beef and broccoli, always good.
That's a good one.
Kung Pao chicken, also slept on. Yeah.
I see that you have a varied opinion about Chinese food, and I'll ask what I asked Alan. What about like coconut shrimp or coconut anything?
Good.
Good.
I didn't ask you, Jacob. I asked Carson.
Coconut. Coconut is not my favorite flavor.
It's about the texture for coconut for me, not like the taste of it.
Oh
This
my
guy.
God.
Yeah, can you believe
coconut
this
shrimp
exactly?
are the ones like fried with coconut in the batter, right?
Yeah, sometimes. And well, it's usually like coconut flakes and breading,
I just-
like kind of put together.
Yeah, I think I could be okay with that. I think it's mostly coconut milk that's not my favorite.
Do you not like coconut milk?
No, not really.
Even like in curry and stuff?
Honestly, that mostly is the reason I don't super love curry is coconut
curry's
milk.
so good. Coconut milk slaps.
But I think I could probably fuck with some coconut shrimp, but they would not be the first thing I ordered by any means.
I dig it. All right, I respect it. So on that very thrilling note, thank you to all my Patreon supporters, most of my friends who are doing it. Shout out to.
Did Travis say what his Chinese order?
Can we mute this guy's mic for God?
I want to know.
I like to get the special of the day on it.
Yeah,
whatever's looking good.
Whatever kind of big specials they have. Jesus, Jacob. So.
I made a joke and everyone's like, "Fuck him, he sucks."
Fine, I'll just.
If you didn't suck, it'd be a lot easier, you know.
So.
Anyway.
So thank you to all my Patreon supporters, all my friends. Thank you for Richard for hanging out for as long as you did. Thanks to Rachel laying on the couch in the other room who was listening for a while.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yes.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you to Thomas who plugged me to all of his friends and stuff whenever you found out about my Patreon and started supporting. Shout out to Steven Lemons who's always at every stream and doing there for all of my stuff. Huge supporters. And because I deeply underestimated about how much time I would have for the rest of the week, I should be having a new adventure out very soon. Doing some, posting some bit more on my Patreon here in the near future about some cool creations I've been doing. Hopefully now that we've done this, we can start doing a little bit more Shar After Dark to, hear some more of these thoughts. Oh gosh, what else? I'm doing a cool project that'll be out like mid-June, which I'm very excited about with some other creators. I'm looking forward to it.
What is it?
I'm fairly certain I can't necessarily say, but essentially like an Eldritch Horror encounter supplement.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm writing a couple encounters for it, which after just having my cool encounter stream, I am very much looking forward to applying some of those things. It'll be a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, I guess we'll see most of you again on Monday to see if Varian dies. Tune in to see if he dies. Do I still have YouTube? There it is. So yes, thank you.
That would be very fun if I died and just was not in the rest of the campaign or introduced a
After
new character.
all of this.
Yeah, super fun.
Yeah, you'd all love that, wouldn't you?
Unless.
Not funny. Didn't laugh.
You can play my Roman character.
Oh God! Please play Roman to Maduni, Madeni's.
What an opportunity to just step into a character created by Alan and just be like.
That's like the equivalent if someone left a pile of flaming doo-doo at your door.
Well, no, that's what we'll do for Rime of the Frost Maiden. Is no one makes a character, Alan makes everyone else's character, and that's what we'll do. That'll be the campaign.
The problem with that is Alan won't even know what characters he'll be making.
I still to this day have no idea who or what Roman is, and I don't need to know. I don't need to know. I'm
Gill
fine.
hole. It's a gill hole.
I am good.
That's it. That's the whole sentence. Just gill hole.
I'm like, all right.
So Xavier, Travis, give us our sign off.
We're still live? What is